ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once more to some more Faceit League action here during the holiday season. We had ourselves a bit of fun yesterday with South America, but today we're experiencing a little bit of that North American action instead. Kintsugi taking on YFP, the former boot troop. Both these squads, the games that they have played thus far have been impressive, but much like the Garfo we covered yesterday at Dexatron, Kintsugi has only played one of their games up to this point, which means there's going to be a heck of a gauntlet coming up in front of them.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that before he came on stream here tonight, that we covered Kintsugi in their one game this season against Amplify, and we had a lot of questions about them. A completely different team. They brought in 3 new players. Amplify was a team that had been together for at least a season, and I was going to give the edge to Amplify in that one. But Kintsugi, they played an excellent series, really executing a lot on Amplify's faults in that one to come out on top. Haven't played a game since then. Been about 2 weeks as well, I think. And like you said, a gauntlet coming up for them. Boot Troop, or now YFP, comes in. A couple changes to their roster as well, with them going over to the YFP brand. They are sitting 2-2 at the moment. Not in the worst spot, not in the best spot, but still a lot of games ahead of them for both these teams, especially when we look over a team like Kintsugi, who after tonight still has 12 more games this season. And Hunter, I think there was a time that we looked at the schedule and they had, I think, 6 games in 7 days.
Yeah, which we have seen teams already go through that entire experience of playing a bunch of games in one quick sitting. It's not an easy thing to deal with whatsoever. Some teams do it better, some teams do it much, much worse. But we'll see what's going to happen with these squads here today. Obviously, they're zoned in on this game here, as both of our teams have already gotten themselves nice and prepped away from this one. I know we saw our first ban was Sigma, and we're heading over to Nepal. We'll see what that second ban here is momentarily. But Sigma, I would say it's curious, but Sigma does have a pretty good amount of utility. I think Sigma's in a really good spot right now.
Yeah, Sigma's in a really good spot. Maybe the strongest he's been in probably about 6 months. I feel like 6 months is about the right case here, but especially going to a map like this where Ramatra does find a decent amount of value. Getting rid of Sigma here, or getting rid of Sigma here, I think works, especially if you do want to run that Ramatra on a point like, I want to say it's Sanctum, where there's the pit. Where it just the accretion to stop any kind of aggression that comes out from the Ramatra, and really it could work on any other map as well. We will see what the second ban was here in a brief moment, but I think this is a really good ban coming out here from, what was it, Kintsugi that made it? I didn't see.
I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure either, but usually it is default to one of the sides that ends up doing the pick first. So in this situation right here, I am going to look back on it. I'm going to try to get a way to figure out, and I'll put them accordingly. If I don't, we'll simply put them down as is. I think it'll be very apparent when we get into things how each ban has kind of affected each team. Sigma's not the most common ban in the world either, so it should be a little more easy to narrow things down. But if I had to take a guess, I would personally say that was Boot Troop's ban. That is just my, Boot Troop, I should say YFP. That's just my heart right there.
And I mean, waiting for lineups to be finalized here before we get to our second ban. Hunter, there it is. We do know what it is. It will be Reaper here. So, I mean, you get rid of the Sigma. Zarya could definitely be a factor coming into it here. And Hunter did.
Yeah, exactly what you thought happened is what happened. It's exactly what you thought happened. 110%. I need your support, good sir. I have messed up. This is all this is all Hunter Tane, ladies and gentlemen. He has messed up today. But we're still gonna get you this game. We're gonna figure it out really quick for y'all. We're getting ready to head into this first map. As man, this is a rare mistake on my part over here, but we're gonna make it work.
The holiday season, man, everyone's a little bit busier.
Alright, let me go ahead and get this. We're gonna get into this game momentarily. I'm just gonna make sure we are set in this retrospect. So let me go over to window capture. Dex, I mean, while we're getting this thing pulled up, I mean, talk to me about what you're seeing right now so far between these comps.
I mean, right now, Boot Troop kind of coming out. I mean, YFP coming out exactly on what we thought we would see from them, especially with Sigma being a ban out here with that Ramatra. From the other side of Kintsugi, without that Reaper being there, you're still going to see them play the Zarya. I feel like you're going to see a little bit less kind of value coming out from Kintsugi, but I think we said that this last time we saw Kintsugi play, and they did absolutely fine. Hell, they were even able to start lapping the other team here as both teams already fighting for high ground. Netsuki, though, has to get out of dodge with some help from a bubble right there. Nice ice wall, though, by Noxious.
Yep, 100% as we get into this one going. I love the Ramattra versus these Zarya. It feels like it really can go either way, but Zeb is going to have to be very, very careful with these bubbles. The moment those bubbles do go down, you're going to see this immediate rush from Mari and the rest of this Kintsugi squad with that aggression. But for the time being, fight taking place big time on the outside. Eventually, first cat comes through. Natsuki and Micah both going to commit some trades here, but Zeb getting rid of Regime is going to slow things down big time. Noxious and Micah running out of that care for the time being. Mari wants to be able to hold on, but this is going to be a really tough thing as Point looks like it's going to flip back over with Mari dead. That is going to solidify right there.
Yeah, and you see YFP here to take the reset. Hunter, I need what's the button to get rid of the card?
Control. There you go.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Let's do this, Snowball.
What?
I had to remember because all my controls got reset, so the the POV cams are not on the buttons I thought they were on.
Hey, a lot of things happening on the spot. It is what it is. Nobody can blame you, but still, it's an important day for both these squads right here, especially, you know, Kintsugi, who just has so many games to play, needs to start the gauntlet on the right foot, and for the time being, it's working out fine. Zeb trying to guard all the charge, has no bubbles remaining for quite some time. You see some level of aggression, but Winter is the first one down. You're going to see that aggression to jump over on the point. You're going to have some stall coming through potentially from Lich, but touch is going to come through last second here from Natsuki, who's going to go down. Zeb's going to try to get some touches in, but at this point, it's going to be all for now. Only 48%. Zeb, ZZ trying to get out of here alive. All of them should be able to.
Somehow they're able to get out right there. And nice kind of fight there by Boot Troop. They found the first pick, immediately went straight to point, and I think it was a little bit of a delayed play there from YFP to get back down to point. I think that kind of hurt them there. They had the chance to maybe stall it out a little bit longer, maybe get Zeb in there, especially with a grab ready for them now. I would be expecting that any moment, and there it is.
Yeah, good grab, trading things around. Zeb able to get rid of Micah. Managed to get rid of Winter ahead of time, but it is a back and forth affair. Problem is, even though Lich and Natsuki are still hanging around, it's a 1v1, but this is not a 1v1 that Natsuki's going to win.
I mean, Natsuki just gonna have to get out of dodge right here, which looks like is gonna be the case for them. And there, okay. And they're gonna be able to get out here with their lives, which is a very good thing for them. But right now, I mean, if you're Kintsugi, you need to get something going back towards point. You just use grab last fight, and yeah, you got the quick point flip, but you eventually ended up losing the fight. You need to have a little bit something more coming your way here this one. But you do have a lot of ultimates to play with, as already a lot coming out.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see right there. Natsuki has to run all the way around. Is getting close to the beat. Isn't gonna get it up in time though. Gonna head back and forth. Mari trying to keep their team going right now. Will be able to do so. Lich and Winter, only 2 remaining. They want to get back into this. They might cause a temporary flip. In fact, Lich will, so this is going to create more time at the end of the day for a recontention for this YFP squad.
Yeah, and right now, YFP doing exactly what they need to do here. And just Kintsugi is still kind of struggling here with this composition. I feel like without the Reaper, it's gonna struggle a little bit more here, especially knowing that the Ramattra on the other side is a really good counter here to the Zarya, as you already start to see Mari put some pressure onto Zeb. A touch coming out here from Kintsugi, just get overtime going here, but you're gonna need a lot, especially with this Annihilation.
Yeah. Close one right there, manages to get out a nice beat though, creating a ton of sustain. Micah goes down first and foremost, so able to keep things going. Zeb has all this amazing charge, is going to be able to grind through the rest. Noxious and Mari are going to stall for a while longer, but it is 99% already. Eventually, they will go down, and now, honestly, this next fight, or final fight really comes down to Zeb getting this grab on in time.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, but you look at the other side here for YFP, I mean, they have nothing. They invested everything in that last fight there to try to get something going their own way and just did not find it. And it's an unfortunate play there for them, but still a lot of opportunity here for them to just find an early pick and go in on it. You cannot allow Zeb to build up to that grab, like you said. But you see Lich, Winter, Z, not that far away from any of their ultimates as well. You can start to see Kintsugi here really rotate into a great spot.
Oh yeah, 110% getting this last fight underway. See whose way it's going to go. It's going to be 99-99 for both spots here momentarily, with the flip beginning to come through here. ZZZ getting rid of Micah to get things going away. Mari needs to be able to stay on this point for a while longer. Grab is going to come through onto 2 bodies. Gonna get rid of one of them, and now it could just be the stall game left sitting by. Freeze comes through. Unfortunately, it's gonna be cut off, and now it is a simple stall game coming alive right here. Lich has that pulse bomb, but is still a while ways out. But with Mari down, you should see recontention. But the problem is, Micah's gotta get a touch.
They're trying to find anything they possibly can here right now. Lich will be able to find Micah there, but that should pretty much do it. Kintsugi going to be able to take our first point here of the night. And Hunter, make sure the teams are on the right side.
It's all good, bueno. Everything has been fixed as of the time of me talking right now.
Yeah, but a very much back and forth kind of first point right then. That's kind of what we expect from these two teams. We expect these two teams to be towards the top, maybe even towards the middle of this tier right now. And I mean, you look at here, pretty even across the board. You have your struggles on each side, but I mean, you look at Lich, 6 deaths there, but you also have Micah on the other side with 6 deaths. They're kind of playing the same role here, but Hunter, look at what we're seeing from Lich there for a brief moment. We saw it a little bit earlier this week in South America where Ligtat showed us the Vendetta. Outside of them hovering over the sim right now, they were hovering that Vendetta there for a brief moment.
And it looks like Vendetta is what we're going to get. We had a couple of funny moments. You know, we saw this over here last time, but Lich wants to try to get off to a continuous good start. You see some presence over on the point. Eventually, you're going to see somebody start trying to just over there. Probably Noxious and Micah be able to give a little bit of support on there as well. But for Mari, the important thing is getting into this, starting to push back Zeb, make those bubbles be used. But for the time being, Mari, all they can do is really just sit there, keep taking all of this punishment. Lich tries to get out of their live bubble underway, and it's looking like this point is going to come over now as Mari's taken care of, and everyone else going to start moving in.
And this kind of what we talked about yesterday with those seeing the Vendetta on this same exact point where they were playing with the D.Va, and I thought, you know, the D.Va could work, but I think a Zarya would be a lot better. You saw Lich right there get both bubbles and get them out of a sticky situation. Not only did it keep them alive, it charged up Zeb to a really good point here where they can play as aggressively as they want. Look, they're still just feeding Lich when it comes to these bubbles here.
100%. This is what I was saying before about the Vendetta pairing up very well with Zarya. I told you it was going to happen at some point, and it's happened pretty early on here. Takes a ton of pressure, has a ton of block. Micah, though, gets rid of Winter to get things going, so Kintsugi is going to opt to try to double down here. It's going to force everybody to get out here. Lich gets rid of Noctis, turns things back around, and with that, you're going to have to see a quick little regroup from YFP.
And now YFP, I mean, you're kind of starting to get to the point in this map where you're starting to maybe lose it a little bit here. You need to have a really good reset here, especially with ultimates coming on the online for the other side, but Lich already finding one out here, and the grab not that far away.
No, not at all. Lich getting rid of 2 already, is hoping to get rid of 3rd. Goes in maybe a little too aggressively, and with Mari staying alive, at least momentarily, well, Wolf are very much stronger. That's going to be essentially a team wipe right there, as, I mean, there are so many ultimates on that.
So many. I mean, you're still holding on the grab. You still have Lich's ultimate there on the Vendetta. Overclock. Natsuki not that far away from their own beat here for Kintsugi, but on the other side, I mean, you're going to have a full house right now for YFP, and you really need something to get going here for you. And you might have to invest all of them here just to try to get back towards the point. You need to have something go your way here. An early pick might be what you need.
100%. We'll see whether or not that is going to be the case right in potential final fight territory. Zeb has that grab ready to go. Winter, though, going to be the first one to be able to pop off here. Wants to find a little something. It is cutting people off momentarily. Micah, though, is being forced around. Is eventually going to be taken out by Lich. Lich tries to go for it. Ultimate being taken care of, though, and after such an amazing investment, nothing's happened quite yet, but at the end of the day, beats being expended. Mari still has an Annihilation sitting by a point. Going to flip over momentarily. Zeb needs to focus on staying alive, maintaining some of that big charge. For the time being, though, they need to regroup.
They need to regroup, and Mari is going to be forced to use his Annihilation here just to keep themselves alive and just keep a little bit of pressure up here. Salmon going to be able to find one right there, and now if you're YFP, that's exactly what you need. You need a fight victory to go your way. Hell, you just need something to go your way here. That Annihilation will come and go, but you're in a good spot right now, especially with Noxious having this Blizzard.
Yeah, 100%. See, super low momentarily, but is able to stay alive. That Kintsugi rush is going to be really important here, especially Noxious around the corner from that freeze. You can, again, cleanse your way out of it if need be. See what kind of value it's going to get, though. That point being touched currently by Lich, who's going to need a little bit of pressure, but here comes that freeze we were talking about. Going to see who's going to catch on to Zeb, the unlucky recipient, and the unlucky participant as they go down. Winter, easy, trying to get out of there alive, just has to hit the quick regroup, but still have that Kitsune rush.
And now YFP starting to look like a little bit of a better team here right now. They have a little bit more of a sustainable comp with this Ramatra and the May, especially just with the ice walls and just Blizzard coming out right there. Again, it didn't. I don't think it found anyone, but it forced everyone there for Kintsugi to one side of the map. Now they have to deal with a lot though from the other side.
100%. See what we get out of this one right here. Salmon already down, and I mean, things falling apart. Mario moved off the side. You can maybe hope for a couple of touches coming through here at best, but as things are right now, Point is going to flip over. Noxious, the last one remaining. Doing a good job stalling. Actually, a great job stalling. Mari should be able to get back in time.
Mari should be able to get back in time on the Doomfist, but they're not going to be able to live long enough. Winter, though, does find one.
Yeah, it is opening up the door, but still, someone has to get another touch right here. It is just Regime alive, though, and not for much longer. So 2-0 in favor of Kintsugi. Works out very well for them. YFP was definitely game here, but that Zarya was putting in the work.
I mean, the Zarya was doing everything you wanted to do there and more on that second point. I mean, it was a little bit of a slow start, I think, for that Zarya, but once it got going, it was very, very difficult for it to get stopped there. And YFP on the first point, I think they had the right idea. They played it very well. They just did not have the resources there at the end. That was the biggest difference, in my opinion, between the 2 points, because it was back and forth. Really, it truly was between the two teams there in that map. But YFP at times just really struggled. I mean, you could look at the start of that second point there, where it was essentially 99-0 before they really even got something going towards point. That's how good this Kintsugi roster was at just controlling the space and making it very difficult for YFP just to move around.
Yeah, it was really difficult to really get away with anything. In this, it's for a multitude of reasons that it was difficult. I mean, again, having Zeb over on that, sorry, I made things very difficult. Mari is not able to simply push through that because Zeb was so good at managing the bubbles that it was really difficult to have that level of push. Lich over on the Vendetta was basically able to do what we saw previously with something like a Zarya Reaper, a Zarya Venture, where you're able to have that kind of presence and you still have a character that basically has a get out of jail free card. So it ends up working out beautifully, and I like the way it's moving. Now, obviously, with Boop Troop having a decision as to where to go, they've made it. It is King's Row, but they also are going to have the decision on what to ban first. And this is King's Row. I could 100% see them pulling the Zarya card this early.
I could as well, but I feel like, again, something we saw yesterday in South America, reactionary bans coming back to really bite them later on in the series. I think while Zarya could be a very smart ban here, I think you kind of stay away from Zar on this map and wait for maybe a map that Zar finds a little bit more value on. But, I mean, other than that, you could go for Vendetta. We saw that reactionary ban come out yesterday, even though the team that played Vendetta lost in South America. Different story this time around with the team that played Vendetta won. So you could definitely see that here. But, again, we talked about it a little bit with Vendetta. How are we going to see this hero? How often are we going to see this hero? Is it going to be a map-based thing? Is it going to be with certain tanks? Because I feel like the Zarya was the right way to go. But we don't have to worry about Vendetta being banned out this map because it is YFP banning out Echo here.
Echo's interesting. I mean, to be fair, there's one side where you could say, oh, Echo's a character that still has some level of utilization, but I would imagine this may be just protecting the DPS a little bit more than anything else. Especially because, as you say, they're going to hold off on that Zarya ban, at least for now. You still have to worry about some other map types that are, are going to play into that Zarya push is one that comes to mind immediately, especially if we go to something like Runa Sapi. But I think this is just protection. This opens up the door to run whatever you want to run in the situation. And if this does line up the way that I think it did, and that Reaper ban was coming out before from Kintsugi, things are, or I should say from Boop Troop. I want to keep saying Boop Troop. I'm going to keep saying Boop Troop so many times doing this team, but it makes sense if the ban came from them because this is clearly protection.
Yeah, absolutely here. But I mean, right now, when you look at what Kintsugi has to ban here, they have their options left open here. I mean, you could ban out Ramatra if you really do want to play the Zarya, because you always saw in OWCS, and especially towards the latter end of last season of Faceit, where Zarya Ramatra was getting banned out just to keep Zarya protected here a lot. But no, it's instead going to be the Wu Yang. And Hunter, me and you started to see Wu Yang really pop off yesterday in South America, especially just being able to do a decent amount of poke damage and staying very far away. I think this is a really smart ban because it forces you back into that kind of traditional support lines that you've been seeing. The Lucio and Brig, the Lucio Kiri, the Lucio Ana, maybe Brig Ana here on this map. It really does kind of lock you back into something maybe a little bit less pokey where your support line doesn't need to be so close to the team, maybe in that high ground or maybe just beyond arches on the defensive side.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see how things are going to go out the gate here. For the time being, it looks like we're going to have an attack from YFP first and foremost. We'll see how well it works out. Obviously decided to ban out that Echo, give themselves a little more freedom in the DPS category, because I could have 100% seen a ban in the DPS category coming from Kintsugi. With how things went, I think you were getting a lot of pop-off material before. As we're seeing, though, right now, Jeremy currently sitting over between the Pharah and the Vendetta. I could see either one happening. Pharah still gets a decent amount of playtime, not a ton, but it's still a well-utilized character. It forces the DPS on the other side to swap to something that can take care of it as well, so we'll see if this sticks or not.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if it does stick here as well. But like exactly look at what we're seeing here now from YFP. You have the Winston out here. We started to see this a little bit more often here. We talked about a lot with this being a more known as a brawl map, but in Overwatch 2 kind of become an all-round map. D.Va now going to be here for Mori. I like this a little bit better for them, but look at the other side. Kintsugi sticking with their bread and butter here. You see Zeb on that Zarya, which looked really good the first map. Lich, though, going to be on the Reaper here. And I think right now, if you are Boop Troop, you have to be ready for this.
Yep, and Amari back over on that signature Sigma that we saw be banned out in that first map. Should be really nice to use. Again, that Sigma has so much versatility in both the Kfar game and the close fights as well. We'll see, though, what it can get away with, as Jeremy showing that Vendetta not to keep down first, though. Salmon has been consistent so far throughout not just this game, but what we have seen from a little bit of the season so far. But trying to make their way back in time. Zeb being able to walk over into the Sigma, though, does have a level of advantage because Mari has to play insanely safe.
Yeah, now Zeb just has to try to get out. A nice missuppression there by Lich to keep them alive, but it'll be Jeremy that actually finds both of them before they end up losing their own life in the fight here, but a great double kill right there by Jeremy.
Yeah, you see the assassination going on the back line, but Mari and Noxious putting a quick end to that one. It's going to be a pretty fast tap here. Only took a minute here, as the close spawns will not be gained by a majority of the squad.
And you already saw right there for a brief moment, I believe it was Lich that respawned and just said, you know what, I'm just going to go up back with my friends here. I don't want to be picked off. So instead, they just fall back. And I like that kind of move from them. Just regroup as a whole team here. You're going to be able to come back in pretty quickly because you have Natsuki on this Lucio here. But right now, I mean, this is exactly the stuff that YFP was looking for after what was, I mean, a decent struggle there on that second point of Nepal.
100%. These ultimates are already coming up on board. Specifically, double percentage rush is going to be online. Salmon has theirs first and foremost, though. Could open up the door, and that is what happens. Lich taken down immediately. Zeb trying to get out of there alive with all that delicious charge, but the Dragon's going to try to cut them off. Unfortunately, it's a little too far forward. Doesn't get anything done, but Natsuki does go down, so the bleeding continues to go and go and go. And Z thinks this fight is still winnable, considering Rush being thrown out. And now, with the Flux being online as well, is going to catch directly onto Zeb, who's not going to be able to live with all of that focus fire. And Mari and the rest of the squad continuing to drill forward.
And Mari just trying to find whatever they can right now here. And I got to give it up to Kintsugi here. They're doing a good job to try to hold this point, but they kind of need to fall back, give up some space here. You have some time for Mari to get back. They will have a grab right in this fight, but you're already seeing kills being traded out here.
Oh yeah, 110%. We are going to have some level of touch available. Lich is going to be able to act as kind of as the momentary tank, as Zeb is able to get back over into the fight. Grab is going to be available as well. Regime hasn't been in time though, so we'll be able to respond with said sound barrier. But you're also going to see Kintsugi take their sweet, sweet time here, not any big rush.
No, not at all, and they don't need to be here. It's YFP that needs to try to play a little bit faster here. You already see Jeremy trying to build some space, but it's going to be Winter starting everything off here with their overclock.
Yeah, it's going to create a lot of space. Beat up on line, but not in time for Mari. And now with the 4v4 grab being thrown in, bunch of bodies in there. Winter more than happy to clean them up. Zeb getting rid of 3 at the end. That is the full team wipe there. Not only do you win the fight, but you also get rid of Regime's beat.
You get rid of Beat. I mean, that's a huge ultimate out there from the other side. You still have, though, your own Beat coming up online, a Kitsune Rush, and a Death Blossom here from Lich. So Kintsugi's in a very good spot. That's why I was saying that fight there for YFP was one you kind of need to pick the pace up on. You need to try to push the pressure there because that Beat really needed to keep you alive through it. However, you lost one person early on. That was basically the end of that fight right there. Jeremy does have that ultimate ready to go here, but you probably see Lich already trying to look for their own Death Blossom.
Yeah, Lich is going to keep moving forward. That ever-looming threat of that Death Blossom is going to keep sitting by as well. So for Lich, I mean, you can hold on to this until the end of the round, honestly. You're not required to use this at any point, but there's a lot here on the line is available here for YFP, but they have to make some utilization of it out the gate. I would love to see Mari go aggressive and try to get rid of Zeb the same way they did previously. That's exactly what's happening. Beat comes out, cleanse, bubble, everything in the world to make sure they stay alive. Death Blossom from Lich in the back line. Not going to get rid of anybody, but causes a little bit of separation here. Jeremy close to going down. Doesn't get finished off right here, but still, everybody being pushed over into a corner. Cooldowns beginning to run out. Lich and Winter being forced to get out of this fight, but both are in such vulnerable positions.
And Zeb's kind of off in their own world right here. Gonna be able to find one, but they eventually will lose the fight here. Mari, though, I don't think it'll be much longer for this world either. Regime will find one, but you do lose your tank. And Kintsugi so far, ever since really giving up arches and losing the first fight on Street's Face here, they've looked like the better team. They've been able to stabilize. Ultimates came out, though, from both sides right there, and they were very much needed by both sides. You look at this one coming in here. Noxious does have the dragons, but we've seen that more recently be used as a separation tool rather than something you're looking to find kills with. The other side, Winter should be able to build up to their own overclock here. This fight is ready, as you already see Lich going in, but Lich taken out.
Yeah, that's devastating really early on here to lose that. Early Noxious gets a second one across the map onto Z, and now gets a third. Is going to be the hero of this fight. Zeb can't even realistically get out of the situation. They can try, but I think the best you can do is go in here, try to get some charge, and accept your death. And there will come through. 2.5 minutes going to be left on the clock here, as slowly but surely, YFP still moving forward.
Mari taking the levitation perk right there to get themselves on this high ground. I like it there from them. Especially on this high ground, it's very hard to dislodge this Sigma, especially with the comp that Kintsugi is running here. But you look at Kintsugi here. Overclock, Kintsugi Rush, grab, about to be online here. They have options here as the Overclock already coming out here now from Winter.
Yeah, everybody hiding away as no one really going to go down, but still separation from the Dragon. Winter ends up going right into it, and now DPS starting to go wild here as they're being eliminated one at a time. They're starting to fight back. Zeb has a ton of charge to work with. It's going to push everybody back out. That was a tough position to be in, but they managed to hold out.
Yeah, and right now Salmon needs to get out of dodge. They're kind of in a peculiar spot right now. No one's going to be able to push up and get to them here. But you look at YFP, they have 3 ultimates of their own, 3 really good ultimates. Almost having 4 here. But you have the grab, you have the Death Blossom, you have the Kintsugi Rush for the other side that you really got to worry for here right now. If you are YFP, that could be an ultimate that really ends a fight for you. And with how much time's left, it could just be the map as well.
100% could be fluxed out once again. He's not going to get a whole lot of anything, though. Grab comes through, going to pull some bodies down. Regime's beat, by the way. Did manage to get out in time, but it's not going to matter. Noxious, last one remaining. He's going to get back to the spawn doors, though, but that is a whopping 5 ultimates used during the entirety of that fight.
And Lich still holding on to their Death Blossom here, which is going to be a big thing. I mean, if you're YFP, that fight kind of went as worse as it possibly could have gone right there. But Lich, oh, they get cut out. Now they're getting chased down by Jeremy. Jeremy, they're just going to have to get out of dodge right there because they were putting themselves into a really bad spot, especially with how much time is left here, Hunter. YFP cannot afford to lose someone like Jeremy this early on.
No, not at all. Noxious might have to use this all kind of aggressively, but Lich is going to go and get stunned out, but it's not going to be in time. Zeb gets rid of Mari on top of that. Zeb cleaning things out big time. 30 seconds left on the board, and things not looking great here for YFP.
No, I mean, you still have 2 ultimates right now if you are YFP, but you need a little bit more. However, on the other side, I mean, for Kintsugi, you have the rally. You're going to have an overclock at some point. This is where I'm saying YFP needs to kind of push that aggression here a little bit. Use an ultimate, just get out of spawn, because you need to find someone to get a touch.
Yeah, DZ is down, no touch.
Oh!
He's going to be available. Cherokee gets rid of 2 with that. Trying to stay alive, has plenty of block to do so. Gets rid of another little help from the back line as they're going to keep this moving forward. Noxious still has the Dragons online.
And Mari not that far away from their own flux here, so they're in a really good spot. And hey, you got some ultimates out from the other side. You're also seeing swaps come out from the other side as well. That backline completely swapping up here. Ana Juno now is the name of the game here. Noxious, though, they have a dragon. They honestly should just throw it out here right now.
Yep, it's going to be in a pretty good spot. It's not going to get rid of anybody, but Shield Claw has great separation momentarily. Nacho somehow gets rid of a winner near the tail end of that one. So now 5v4 activated, Lich low, Z is low, and now Flux is going to be online. It's going to be there to punish them directly. Lich is taken care of overtime, going to base, but it's not going to matter. As Nacho's helping clear the house, as nobody will be back to touch in time. Overtime goes through for YFP. It is a close one, but Zeb's grab, unfortunately, not able to get enough there.
No, it was going to be very difficult. Like I said, though, YFP, they started pushing that aggression level there. They had the ultimates. They started to play with them good. They found value with them. I think that was a big thing there at the end that really made sure they were able to get back to the cart one and then continue the push. The backline swapping there for Kintsugi at the end, I don't think was necessarily a big deal for them, but it did kind of slow them down. I believe one of them was very close to an ultimate that could have changed maybe a little bit of the fight, but I think one person we didn't necessarily talk about enough there for YFP that round was Noxious. I mean, the couple times we were on them, they were hitting headshot after headshot after headshot on Hanzo, a character that I'll admit it, I'm terrible at. So I know how hard it is to hit headshots like that, but Noxious was making it look like it was light work.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell from just looking at some of these stats right here, what everybody was able to do. First of all, Mari, just from the stat-wise, is the definitive standout right here, able to get over 10,000 damage with that segment, those fluxes, working out every single time that it was casted. But Noxious, I mean, gets away with a lot, especially as a Hanzo. All that shield break is really important, and it's made it a living hell for Zeb to be able to stay alive, to keep these bubbles going, because there is a point where if you feel like you can kill the Zarya reasonably, you are going to burn through those bubbles, and Hanzo is one of those characters that can easily burn through those bubbles in time.
Oh, absolutely. But now you look over to the other side right now, Winter looking for that headshot out the gate, not going to be able to find it. You immediately see everyone just kind of swap up there right now for Kintsugi. Basically no swaps here. You see Z come back out here on the Juno. I like it a little bit better. You need some speed in this composition, and you need a little bit more healing, so I think that's why you're seeing that over the Lucio here. But YFP in a really good spot on this high ground. It's going to take a couple members from Kintsugi up there, or, you know, one good railgun shot from Winter to open up it all.
Yeah, Winter just doing Winter things, and I think I saw right there, Zeb trying to jump up over on the high ground. Did so successfully, by the way. Love a little bit of tech. Love to see it, but Zeb can't hang up there forever. Instead, gonna get 2 ticks over on this point. Eventually, Mari is just gonna have to drop down on this point. He does do so. Has all that charge directly in their face. No one down yet, though, but not just gets another one. Trying to bring this fight back around. Looks like they'll successfully do so. As Kintsugi so close, but no cigar.
I mean, they got 2 ticks, though, for a fight that was, I mean, only a minute there. That you're okay with that? Yeah, YFP did cap the point in 1 minute last time in one fight, but you're okay with getting that there. All you need to do is just force YFP into another spot here right now if you're Kintsugi, where they're going to have to be forced to play on this low ground, which you already see them doing that. You now just need to find an early pick. Lich, though, they're going to be able to get out of dodge, but they've used a lot of their utility.
100%. But Mari getting closer and closer to having this flux on the board. Doesn't get away. Is Lich able to finish off Mari with a little help there from Winter once again. But now you need to finish this fight this time around, and it looks like it's going to come to form. Jeremy tries to bring him back around. He's only able to get rid of Natsuki before this point gets kept over. And again, a majority of the squad not getting the good spawns, so this archway should be no issue.
Archway is going to be free here, and look at what Kintsugi is doing here. They're fully pushing up. I believe it's only 1 member right now for them on the cart, and I like that. They want to play a little bit aggressively here with this here, and you already see who's up here. It's just the Brig of Natsuki there on the point right now while the rest of their team is pushing up here. Let's get caught out there by Jeremy, but again, Jeremy not going to want to deal with the 2 Hellfire shotguns, so going to play very, very cautiously here. This is going to allow YFP to come back in around the time they get to this cart to the library.
And here comes that all-out aggression. Incineration is there. Z is going to have to over the rush online. He is going to activate it. Zeb still having that grab ready to go, but you could do the combination as Mari able to find something with the flux. Gets allowed to find it slow. Nobody goes down though. Eventually the follow-up comes through. Everybody at the grab getting destroyed. Mari Lab's going to stay alive. That's going to be the full team wipe once again, but there will be enough time and enough resources for another touch.
I mean, there's going to be enough time for another touch, but if you're Kintsugi, you could really just play aggressively here and just kind of push up, try to force YFP to use some of their own ultimates here, just try to get back out and get a touch. However, only 1 or 2 members on the cart at the time here. YFP is going to have the opportunity, but Winter just decided to push the pressure here and pop off with their overclock.
100%. Dragon throw directly down the center. And again, Winter caught out on the tail end of it. He's going to stop him just right here and now. Jeremy gonna go for it. He's gonna get interrupted though. Natsuki coming up clutch here big time. But it's the DPS that come through in overtime. I should say they're working overtime for YFP to keep this thing rolling as ZZZ is gonna die the late death.
Take the honorable one. Regime will get credit for the kill. You gotta give Jeremy some credit there because I probably would have tried to use the throw ability there to go after them and ended up throwing myself off the map. But hey, if you're YFP, you're doing exactly what Kintsugi did last round. Kintsugi got off to a very strong start, got through Street Face up until this point very quickly, and then you start to eat away at the time back. That's exactly what you need to do here. No ultimates online right now for YFP. Lich, though, has his Death Blossom ready to go, and you have to know they are just looking for with how much they are already frontlining.
Yeah, you ideally want to try to find this backline if you can. I mean, you have someone like Noxious or Jeremy that if they're caught in one situation, they can't do anything for themselves, but it's Noxious who is stopping this fight from occurring before it's even really happened. Natsuki already down, Winter gonna run for the hills, but Regime more than happy to keep following up. And this is gonna be another fight that you can't even really classify it as a fight. Natsuki never got off the gate.
No, they didn't. I mean, it was that first early pick there by Noxious onto Natsuki. I mean, Natsuki on this brig is such a key part to this composition here for Kintsugi that if you lose him, you have to basically just back out. And I think the fastest way for Kintsugi to back out in that engagement was honestly just to die there, just to take the death, go back, regroup, and spawn here. Ultimate still coming online now for YFP as we're getting under 2 minutes here. Lich still holding on to their Death Blossom here, and they're desperately looking for it, but I would not be surprised if they're looking to pair it here with Z's Orbital.
Yeah, Flux is going to come out. It's going to catch on to actually catch on to a whopping nobody. Close to a little bit of separation, though, but you're seeing followed with the Orbital Ray and the Death Blossom. It's drilling directly through Mari, who eventually is going to go down at the cost of Lich's life. We're still going back and forth in a 3v2 now. YFP trying to do their darnest right now to stay in this one, but at the end of the day, you're eventually going to see them fall over. Kintsugi will be able to cap second point about around as quickly as YFP was able to do as well.
Yeah, they'll have about an extra, I think, 12 seconds, basically. But hey, time is time here, and if you can complete the map with any, it really does help you out on the other side. Grab though ready here for Zeb is going to be very, very key here for them in these upcoming fights. But again, right now, you have the Kitsune Rush, you have the ultimate here for Vendetta on Jeremy, and Salmon almost starting off with that Kitsune Rush.
Yeah, it's going to cause a lot of separation. Nobody reasonably going to go down low. Everyone's just going to regroup, but Zeb is going to have a grab around the corner. Regime really close to that deep, but I don't know how in time it's going to be. It might come down to someone like Jeremy to make something of a hero play, to get something going, but as soon as all-out aggression, Zeb knows the opportunity is in front of their eyes, but Regime, at this rate, looking like they might be able to have it online in time.
I mean, they're trying to just find a good opportunity to use this beat. They know that shield's broken, but Jeremy popping off in the back line, looking for whatever they can. They're going to be able to find two!
Ooh, but that shuts it down right then and there. Winter, not long for the world. Jeremy gets rid of three, making a fourth one. Why the hell not? Jeremy keeping the team going almost single-handedly in that fight.
Impenetrable.
I mean, it's exactly what you need there for YFP. It buys you some time. You only use one ultimate there, so you're still in a pretty good spot, especially with Kintsugi coming up to 3 here. You're going to have 3 of your own. So you're in a pretty decent spot here. Noxious, though, on this off angle is something you have to kind of be worried about, and you already see the Suzu invested, but the grab gets denied by the shield.
Oh, you hate to see it. The Grab Dragon does basically nothing. Everyone's hiding in the corner. If it was just a meter or two over to the side, it could have caught some bodies, but instead, you're going to see the counterattack very quickly. Noxious being taken immediately by Winter. Winter gets rid of 2. Post-mortem comes to effect. Zeb and Mari both trying to get rid of their respective DPS on the other enemy side, but Natsuki and the rest of the squad is going to be able to keep trucking on forward. 55 seconds left on the clock here, and Ultimates, only one remains, and it's Z with his Orbital Ray.
Costly a fight there for both teams. Each team invested 3. Kintsugi, though, will be the one that said they came out on top of it here. Already Suzu being invested here. But again, Noxious, they have just been popping off on this Hanzo when their team needs them the most.
100%, and it's gone! The Orbital Ray's gone! It doesn't come out in time! It is worst case scenario! Oh, no! That could not be worst case scenario. There's something...
The satellite did not get the call right there, and oh, that's a costly mistake there, or just not even a mistake, just an unfortunate play there for Kintsugi. You're in final fight territory, and you have nothing. You need Lich to build up to this Death Blossom here immediately.
literally immediately. I mean, you're gonna have like that's all you have really coming up. That is it. You're gonna have a Crescent Rush going directly down your throat here momentarily. Salmon is gonna have it. It's gonna pop it immediately. And now it's important for Zeb to stay alive here. They might not have the ultimate ready, but Lich, the only one with one ready, now goes down, and it's gonna fall apart from here. Zeb and Z gonna try their darndest, but it's not gonna happen. Nox is able to finish everybody off right here, and that's gonna be another one locked in here, stopping them just before the end as Boop Troop takes this one away.
A good bounce back here for YFP. I mean, that first map, we talked about some little mistakes coming out from them. And it was a lot of it because of this Zarya comp that Kintsugi was running. And they still had those problems here this map, but you start to see a little bit more of a difference here, especially in that DPS line. Noxious really started to come alive for them. And it just seemed like everyone was really playing together. Jeremy on this Vendetta looked like an absolute menace at times, and just there was no response there for Kintsugi. And this was the big question that we were going to have, was how many teams have experience with this hero, either playing with it in a comp or playing against it. Right now, I think you're seeing Kintsugi a little bit questionable with it because Jeremy was able to do almost whatever they wanted. It seemed they were able to get in and get out. I mean, it's sort of really like I want to compare it to how you would see Doomfist get played. They go in, they get out, they go and do some damage and get out, and they find picks from the rest of their team cleaning up after them. But a great kind of round there from YFP to get themselves back into the series.
Yeah, and now going to a 1-1 situation, this is a very pivotal map to deal with right here, because if this does end up being a long series, that whoever wins this map going into map 5 will have the control of the map and the first ban as well. So if this ends up being a long haul, it's an extremely important map to win, and obviously you don't want to go down 2-1 and have to worry about having to go back-to-back in that situation. But for the time being, Kintsugi getting things going, they're going to decide to take us over to Runasapi, which again, I expected Runasapi to come back up. I think that Zarya is going to stay a very major fixture right here, so you could see a situation where Kintsugi bans something like a Malga or a Roadhog, something insignificant that would allow them to potentially keep playing the Zarya.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do here. I immediately thought when I saw the map come up there, that's gonna be Runasapi, that if Kintsugi does not ban out a tank here, this is the map that YFP would ban out the Zarya. It makes the most sense. Like I said, you didn't use it there on King's Row because yeah, while Zarya could find a decent amount of value, there's definitely other maps in the map pool that Zarya finds significantly more value on, and I think this map in particular, Zarya finds a lot of value. Really good opportunities to play a lot of different compositions. I think Zarya fits perfectly into this map. So if you're Kintsugi, you're banning a tank here. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. Banning out exactly what I talked about back on map 1 with the Ramatra of coming out there from YFP. Ramatra kind of looked at, I think, as a soft counter to Zarya because I believe you're able to punch through the bubbles and do some damage in Nemesis form. So you get rid of that there. You have to force now YFP to play something else. And what is that going to be?
Hot take? Maybe a Zarya directly back, honestly. I think there's a very real chance you could do what you saw YFP doing, or I should say Kintsugi doing, during that first map. Because remember, we basically had a bubble being thrown directly over onto Lich before, being on that Vendetta and being able to have that level of aggression. And the way Jeremy was performing on that last map with the Vendetta, I think you could get away with doing something like that. The question is whether or not you're going to see that happen. Now, as we look over right now with Mari still in the game, I don't think you can reasonably get away with the Sigma here in this situation. I just personally could see a Zarya head-to-head happening.
Yeah, but there's still a lot of time. We're still waiting for the lineups to be finalized. So if Kintsugi does have a second tank, no, my bad. If YFP does have a second tank, that could be something that you see come in here right now, especially if they do not think that Mari is particularly a good Zarya here, which I imagine they're good, but still, you might have other people on the team right now, as both these teams actually do have, I believe, the max number of players with 8 here. So they do have enough subs where you would expect 1 sub for tank, 1 sub for DPS, and 1 sub for support. But hey, we will figure that out here in a brief moment whenever we do get the second ban in. But Hunter,
yeah,
since we have a little bit of a down moment here, we didn't get to talk about it at the start of the stream. How about you plug what we're doing this week?
Yeah, let's go ahead and plug it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll bring it back over to our wonderful faces as we wait for this game to get underway. But hey, we're doing charity week over here on the stream. Specifically, we're doing a charity for Toys for Tots. It is a program here in the U.S. that has existed since 1947. Now, I managed to work on this back when I was a wee lad in high school at the ripe age of 17 years old. I was able to help make a commercial for this amazing program, and I'm more than excited to be able to support them here and now. This is basically to help give families that are less fortunate a better Christmas, whether it is providing them with food, with presents, which is simply a better atmosphere to have a proper Christmas that obviously every family, every kid 100% deserves to have. So if you're able to support the cause 100%, we appreciate it. If you simply just want to share it, want to spread the word, we appreciate that also. Heck, we just appreciate you being here in general. So if you're wanting to give 100%, we'd love to see it. If not, and you just want to keep watching, enjoy the show as Dex ready to get into this third map, Runasapi, as this is going to be a pivotal map for the series.
Yeah, it looks like Micah coming in here for, I believe, Jeremy on the side of YFP. Kind of what we expected here a little bit, I believe. One moment, I readjust myself. And I mean, right now, I could still expect to see a little bit of that Zarya v Zarya, but Mari on this Wrecking Ball, I feel like it's been in the past. I feel like it's very, very difficult to shut down. But no, I start talking about it, they immediately change it. Going over to the Sigma instead. Going back to what we saw a little bit on the first map of our series here with that Sigma. Needs to get going fast, though. They cannot really allow the Zarya the time to get built up. I think Micah, though, on this on the Bastion should be able to do a decent amount of damage. I just don't think the bubbles are really going to be able, I think the bubbles are just going to be an afterthought here for Zeb.
There's a very real thought in the situation. I like Mari. I guess the over on that Sigma could definitely work. The Bastion Micah, this is going to be a situation where, as simple as it is, it's either going to work really well or it's not going to work at all. With Lich already down and Natsuki directly behind, it looks like for the time being, it's starting out rather well. Everybody going to be able to fall over. Regime does get taken out, but it's not going to matter, as we'll see this first fight well and taken care of here, as for the time being, YFP strategy working out nicely.
Yeah, YFP, the start they needed here. Like I said, they needed to get started fast here. You did not want to allow the time for Zeb to get built up on that Zarya, be able to build up that charge, be able to just get going. And like I also said, Micah on this Bastion, it's something where you're just going to say, you know what, we don't necessarily care about the bubbles. We're okay getting Zeb highly charged, but both bubbles are gone. Zarya becomes a little bit weaker. Yeah, they might be able to put a decent amount of damage into you, but the amount of damage that Bastion can throw into someone, it really matches what the Zarya can as well.
Oh, 110% here. As we get into this next fight right now, Zeb trying to get as much hurt as possible. Getting it for Micah is going to be relatively easy. Wall separates Lich really badly, is forced into a corner, is lucky to get out of there alive for the moment being. That cart 40 meters and counting right now. There's so much damage, and it's so tough to walk in this composition. But with Mari gone, that is going to stem the bleeding here. As Zeb close to going down in their own right, he's going to be kept up, and it's just going to be a little bit more of that stall game here, not just helping do a really good job, but eventually that car's going to start heading the other way.
And right now, Zeb going to be able to find Regime. This basically should stop the push here for YFP, but you got a good kind of little gap right there. 44 meters, really good. You built up some ultimates here. However, Kintsugi did the exact same thing. Already a grab, already Kintsugi rush, and you have an overclock here. I mean, you're going to have the Blizzard for Noxious, but still, you're looking for something that really is going to be able to find kills at a distance, and I think Winter and this overclock has shown us already throughout this night that they are going to be able to do just that. They find the shots, or find the opportunity to land some shots here, but again, you're just kind of looking here for something, if you're YFP, just get some space going back your way, as you know Lich is already looking in that back line to find anything.
Yes, and we're going to let that loose right there. Winter and Natsuki gone. Micah having a good showing, making 3 already, is Zeb and Z. Rough scenario to be existing in right now, is both inevitably going to be taken out right here, as that is just the power of what a Bastion can do. That damage, I mean, despite how easy it is to take out a Bastion, that damage is too overwhelming.
Yeah, big hitbox, but still, you have to very much worry about it because they can just pump in so much damage. That's exactly what Micah was able to do. And it only came at the cost of the Kintsugi rush here for YFP. You're in a good spot. Forward spawns are going to be theirs easily, and now you're going to have a lot of ultimates here for both sides, but I believe YFP going to be the first one to throw something out here.
100%. We'll see what the case is going to be right here. Notch still has a freeze ready to go, but Micah's going to be the one to invest right here, hoping to find a little something with the combo. It's gonna go down. Freeze on top of that. This is everything in the Kintsugi being pulled in to get all this. Lich is gonna come through, but it's gonna get deleted by Micah once again. We get another 3K. Make it a fourth. Micah trying to get the ace, not just takes it away, but that lead is going to be extended in many ultimates, nearly poured down the drain.
Yeah, I mean, every ultimate there. Natsuki was the only one that held on their ultimate in that fight. And look at what you're seeing here now from Kintsugi. A mirror essentially coming out from the middle. Actually, just a straight up mirror. They decided to say, hey, we could not beat you on what we were running, so we're going to try to beat you on what you guys are running here. Still a lot of time in this map, so not necessarily the worst thing there, but Mario already starting to get pushed down a little bit.
110%. We'll see what comes through here. Micah has finally been taking care of his Winter, sending revenge a little bit the other way. And hey, we're gonna see this eventually come through, but a lot of the damage has already been done. And the question is whether or not they can essentially duplicate the same strategy here, because we see this happen from time to time, but not always does it work.
No, and I feel like we see it a lot of times where it just doesn't work, but Zeb getting ice walled out there was not a good sign for it necessarily working in the long run here, as you already start to see YFP come right back in and find value.
And it's just Bastions non-stop over on this kill feed as well. Micah has already gotten rid of 2. Helps gets rid of a throw with Natsuki. I can't wait to look at these stats afterwards, because like you already see Micah's already at 15 elims, almost 5,000 damage.
I mean, Mike, like we said, this Bastion is a very much a hit or miss. You call it glass cannon because of how big their hitbox is, but man, when the cannon's firing, it is firing. It does so much damage. And we talked about there, got Zeb and Kintsugi off that Zarya, which they've been playing all series long here, over to this Sigma as well to mirror what we're seeing here from YFP. But you look at the ultimates now for YFP, they're in a really good spot where they're not afraid to ult dump here into a fight, especially with the possibility that it could give them a 100-meter lead.
And 100% it could. Flux is going to be used. Creation is going to barely miss out. It's going to be pretty much solo used on Zeb right here. Well, not there in time. It's going to cause a bit of separation, but Accretion not going to get the follow-up. Freeze is going to come through, trying to get people off guard. It's going to catch over onto Zeb. It's the follow-up that comes through massively. Natsuki knocked away, as that lead going to extend even further.
Like I said, they were not afraid to ult dump into a fight there. And hey, you got the artillery out there from Winter as well, so they don't have that combo that you saw there from Mari and Micah in that last fight. So that's one good combo out. However, you have Blizzard, you have Beat, you have your own Flux, you have your own Kitsune Rush here for both teams, but right now, if you're Kintsugi, you're in a little bit of a better spot here.
100% you are. We'll see how things keep going from here. You need to send this bleeding right here and now. So much has already gone wrong, but it's not over quite yet. In the past, we saw so many matches come back from a 70, 80, even 100-meter deficit early on. But dying that early for Natsuki is not going to be helping the case right here. Not just though gets rid of 2 already. Trying to keep this fight going, keep this push staying alive, and for the time being, it's working out beautifully so. Mari doesn't quite have the investment with Zeb. If they want to try to stem the bleeding more, it's there, but instead, Natsuki going to let this beat go, trying to stop Noxus before that freeze is online, but online, it 100% is, and while this fight is going to keep going back and forth, it is better and better and better in this situation, as YFP are just on a non-stop train.
YFP is doing great here, and Hunter, we're in that point right now where you always talk about these 50-50 fights. You're okay losing a fight if you're able to get the bot back to where the barrier is. And look at the lead here, almost 100 meters, just sitting at a little bit, I think at 91 meters at the moment, and you have a lot of ultimates here. So again, a dump might be online here.
Yeah, 100%. Flux is going to be thrown in again. Christian going to miss out. Mari hit. Combo being used. Mari is not going to go down though. So back and forth raids come alive. Micah has been taken out really early here, so the opening is here to try to make some more progress and try to stem some of that bleeding that has come through big time. But Noxus has also gone down. DPS trying to make their way back in time, but Lich is going to finish off member after member. Mari, last one remaining, as finally some forward progress going to be made.
Yeah, it's been since, I think, the first minute of the map here now for Kintsugi that they're able to get the bot back to their barrier here to push this here a little bit here. 2 minutes left to go, and you're coming into 3 ultimates, almost 4 ultimates on the other side now for YFP. Kintsugi, you need to have a fight go your way pretty early here. You only have the Kitsune Rush to your name. Lich should be able to build to the Blizzard, but right now, you already see just YFP getting set up here.
100% you do, but Mori taken out of the Flux right there by Lich. Taken care of big time, so that lead is slowly starting to slip away. Still a ton of space right now, but we've seen how fast that can go away when you get this kind of push.
Yeah, and I like what we're seeing here now from Kintsugi. They're pushing up here a little bit, trying to just take some space. They're going to be able to get the forward spawns here, and they've already blown through that and are now within a 40-meter lead, or 40-meter deficit. One fight going their way here, Hunter. Does give Kintsugi the lead, but Micaiah finds the early pick here, and that's a huge one for them.
Micaiah's been doing such a wonderful job this entire series. Is going to be frozen away, caught out with it. Trying to get out of this one right here. He's able to do so. Lich ends up going down, though, so I think the bleeding might be starting to become towards its end. Micah there to follow up with another, though, trying to stay alive. The former anomaly is moving forward, taking this fight back. Another 3K.
And right now, I mean, you're not in that 50-50 area right now, I believe. You just need to try to find a way to get this cart or this bot all the way back to the barrier, which is going to be very difficult here because you do see Kintsugi, 2 ultimates to their name, and almost going to be 3 here. And those are 3 really strong ultimates. You're only going to have your own artillery and Kintsugi rush here for YFP. You need to try to have this fight here, I believe, last as long as you possibly can and maybe get an ultimate or 2 out from the other side.
Yeah, 100% you need that right here. This is such an integral fight, and the Flux is being used very aggressively right here. Not a whole lot of great targets. It's going to catch on momentarily. Nobody goes down as a direct result, though. Instead, separation being used. Beat has to be used by Natsuki. It's so much being used. This fight looking like it's in really good territory. Zeb getting rid of both Mari and Noxious, so they're going to be able to keep this gravy train rolling for now, even though you do end up losing Lich and Winter in that situation. Regime does go down, the cart can move forward, but there are no forward spawns as of this moment.
And right now, if you're seeing these forward spawns as really, really smart here. They're just going to kind of push this along. They're waiting for their whole team to get back. I like this play here, but you see YFP already getting back set up here. They could try to play fast here, force Zeb off the cart, knowing that the rest of Kintsugi is kind of far away, but only the Kintsugi Rush and the Blizzard could be online here for Kintsugi pretty early on, unless the Lich gets taken out. But here's the Kintsugi Rush out from both sides, I believe. No, it's actually just from one. The Flux out, though, from YFP.
Yeah, that's 3 people in there, though. Micah more than happy to get the follow-up. That's all they had left in the tank, and while Micah is being collapsed in on, I don't think it's gonna matter, ladies and gentlemen. Cart eventually gonna have to be surrendered away. YFP takes it over to match point here. Again, it started slipping there near the near the end, but I mean they came out with a great strategy and it worked brilliantly.
Everyone on YFP reminding us what the original name of the org was. But again, another good map here for YFP. They got Kintsugi off the Zarya comp, which they've been playing all series long, and I mean, that mirror did kind of look even there at moments against them, but that big lead they were able to get because of the non-mirror, I think was the biggest difference here for them. And again, this kind of aggressive playstyle that you're seeing from YFP has worked out for them all series long. Even in the one map they lost in Nepal, they played aggressive on it, and they were punished a decent amount. They refined it a little bit on King's Row, still kept that aggressive playstyle up, got a lot of help from their DPS lines, especially their hit scans. This last map, it was who played the May?
You're thinking of Obnoxious, not Obnoxious. You're talking about oh my God, Noxious, who was playing the May. So Noxious was playing the May, and then I believe it was Winter who played the May. That sounds correct.
Let's figure this out. So I'm not.
We are a bottle of misinformation.
Yeah, it was Noxious who was playing it here. Noxious has been a big difference maker. Their Hanzo on King's Row and their May on this map, I think just being able to hit those right clicks on May and just being able to hit headshot after headshot, seemed like on Hanzo on King's Row, really did open up their team a decent amount here on both those maps, and just gives their team a little bit more freedom there. And I mean, Mari, we know how good Mari is as a tank player. Probably one of the best tanks in this Faceit tier, in this Faceit Masters tier here in North America. So the fact they're on a team like YFP now and with this new roster, they seem really, really good here, and it's really working through. This seems like a team that is firing on all cylinders right now, but Kintsugi, they've been able to keep it very close all these maps. They won the first one, got held on King's Row, I believe, by like maybe I'm not gonna say a specific amount, but they were close to completing the map, and they almost flipped the map there after being almost down 100 meters on Runasapi. So it's been back and forth. Kintsugi, though, they just need to find that extra little spark here, or else YFP is gonna be taking the series in our next map, which, well, Kintsugi has already decided is going to be Route 66, and they do not want to see the Diva.
Yeah, Diva in this situation, I don't hate it. all things considered, it's very much doing something similar to what they experienced last map, which was, hey, we just don't want to deal with this particular tank. That's fine, but at the end of the day, you're also putting yourselves in a weird situation because you are essentially... the choice Kintsugi is making is they are allowing for Mari to stay over on that Sigma. It's a very conscious choice, and obviously you want to be able to deal with it, but getting rid of the Diva, it does what it does last time. It allows you to have freedom of your tanks, you can keep the Zarya from being banned, but at the end of the day, again, it's going to keep Mari at their strongest.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, Kintsugi is still, I feel like, trying to ban around maybe a little bit of trying to play Zarya. You can play Zarya on Route 66. I think Poke or Dive might still be a little bit stronger, something like that Sigma, like the Ramatra that we have seen from YFP this series here. You still could play Winston. That is definitely an option here, but I still feel like you're going to see Kintsugi try to get something going back with this Zarya here again, and they're just going to have to really figure it out here. I think they need a really big step up here from their DPS line as well. You go back and look at the stats for the one map that they did win. Their DPS line was incredible. Winter and Lich were doing so much. While these last two maps, they've still been very good. You're starting to notice at least a little bit of a difference here where the DPS line's not finding the same amount of value, and it's just kind of hurting them. Lich, though, no, I mean, Winter, though, here for Kintsugi, consistent. I mean, 35 kills back on King's Row, and I think they had the most for Kintsugi last map with 22.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great performance by both teams so far, and these players have been genuinely so impressive here today. These are players that, I mean, they have accomplished a lot of amazing things throughout the past year or so. I mean, heck, we have players on here that have been formerly on World Cup teams, ones that were formerly playing in OWCS. In fact, quite a couple of members of Kintsugi were in that situation just a couple of months ago over on Team Sakura. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. Obviously, this is a extremely pivotal map in this situation right here, especially Kintsugi, who in this situation right now, you want to take away this map because you are technically still undefeated, even though you've only played one game, but you're off to as good of a start as you can be in your situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're only, like you said, they've only played one game. They're undefeated. They would like to make it 2-0 here, and they definitely have the opportunity too. I mean, they've, like I said, lost the two maps they've lost very, very closely. It's not like they got just completely stomped. They got stomped on the start of Runasawi, but around that 6-minute mark, they really started to put it back together, just weren't able to get going all the way there. Yeah. I missed it. Noxious was hitting an emote. But they just couldn't get it all together here. But now, look at what we're seeing here from Kintsugi. Like I said, I really expected them to come back out on the Zarya just to try to force it. I think this is still a good map for Zarya, but you have Mari back over here on this Sigma. However, I think the biggest difference maker here is you don't have the person that's going to be there just to pop the bubbles with Micah playing the Soj here now.
That 100%. We'll see how well things are going out of the gate here for Kintsugi. Again, Mari's still able to be over on the Sigma. Has been a constant problem throughout the day. They have found for ways to be able to stem that bleeding. Zeb had really good control during that first map with those bubbles, but ever since then, it's not been the easiest situation. But Lich over in the Echo that we did see previously banned away. And for the time being, it is putting Mari in a stranglehold, but has all the care in the world. Noxious goes down, and that cart can keep on moving as slowly but surely everybody from YFP's got to fall back.
Yeah, now if you're YFP, you might have to really consider whether or not this could be the composition you rock with this map. This should be an easy first point cap here for Kintsugi. Gonna be just over a minute, which is really, really good time for this map here, and you already see it there. YFP going right back over to the bubble burster here of Micah on this Bastion. I think it caused a lot of problems for Kintsugi last map. However, I think Lich on this Echo is gonna be a little bit of a difference maker here to slow down Micah. Just being able to play far and high in the sky. If you force Micah to only look up in the sky, it's only going to lead to good things here for Kintsugi.
Yeah, 100%. It's as good a start as you can have for Kintsugi, but you got to keep that train rolling. We've seen them get off to really good starts and then not really be able to follow up on those really good starts. But we saw that over back on King's Row, hoping for them that it's not going to be a duplicate situation. Salmon is 6 health. He's going to barely be able to hold on, but Winter goes for the assassination. Is going to die for the cause, but honestly, I don't hate that. With Salmon gone, it's going to be so much more difficult to keep Micah and Mari going, who are going to be forced to back out and give up even more room.
And Lich is still just doing whatever they want on this Echo. They really haven't been tested just yet. They're just being able to fly around. No one's really focusing on them because Micah, who was playing the hit scan, went over to the Bastion.
100%, and now Mari is forced back further and further. It's probably be taken out extremely late here. We're going to see the copy over there momentarily, though, as obviously I don't think you need it at the end of the day, but it's going to shut it down, and a retouch here is going to be difficult, to say the least. Oh.
Noxious asking for a pause here, and there it goes.
Pause going through. We'll see what the situation is with that. We've had some connection issues with some games over the past little while now. So we'll see what the situation ends up being here. I'll go ahead and we can at least discuss what has been going on so far with these squads. I mean, for Kintsugi, this is as good of a start you can possibly hope for on this attack run right here. You have 4 minutes. No one is realistically going to come and stop you right here. You could touch if you're Noxious or Regime and try to use an ultimate, but it might just be better to go into the third point where I think their comp is going to play to a lot more of its strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. And that should be what YFP does here. They've been getting bulldozed this map through and through. So far, this has been the most dominant we've seen either one of these teams so far this series. I mean, Kintsugi, outside of maybe losing, what, one person, losing Winter once, they've just been able to kind of walk through this map casually. I mean, YP has not had a good answer for them. I think once you see some of these ultimates come out from YP, like the Flux, like the Blizzard, I think you might see them swap up unless they find some value with them and are able to win this fight, because I don't think you're going to see them come back out. From what I can see, it looks like Noxious and Salmon have already kind of, I think, made their beds. They're not going to be going back out there to get a touch because it's not really worth it. The only reason you would do it if you're YFP is to try to get some other ultimates out from Kintsugi to make it a little bit easier for you in that next fight. But you don't want to allow that snowball to keep going, because it's very, very hard to stop a snowball that is coming downhill at you very, very fast.
Yeah, and also, I wouldn't expect for Kintsugi to invest anything. The only way they invest is if somebody invests over on the side of YFP, like, reasonably. If you go in a situation and you say we do just have, like, Regime and Noxious drop through, I don't think it's worth it to use much of anything unless you see Regime try to go for something, realistically speaking. So, either way, we're getting ready to get back into this game. As, again, we'll see likely no one touching right here. You see some people hanging around, but, yeah, touch not happening. Point going to go over 5.5 minutes. Even for Route 66, this is a ton of time.
This is a speed run right now, and Kintsugi is the ones who are controlling it here. But like we talked about, YP, they have the ultimates coming up here that they should really be able to use here to slow this down. They just need to be able to find the value. Z and their orbital rays, I'm gonna be honest, the couple times we've seen them have not really been able to find a lot of value here. That could be an ultimate that gets really caught out here early on.
Yeah, 100%. Flux is trying to find some kind of recipient. Is going to find a whopping 0, though, at the end of the day. Mari extremely low as well. Freeze from Noxious coming through, hoping to find some targets. It's just going to cause some separation. With the Lich down, though, it is going to stop the cart for the time being, but still, you have plenty of time. You are in no rush right now if you're Kintsugi.
I mean, and for the cost of 2 ultimates, you got 3 up on the other side of your Kintsugi. You won that fight, even though it was just a disengage there. You got everything you were looking for. You still have your grab, you still have this overclock, and look at what Lich is coming back out here with. The Vendetta that has been a problem for both teams throughout this entire series.
Yeah, and Mari does not see it coming. Gets taken out. Lich gets rid of 2 earlier on. Gonna go for the assassination on the Salmon. Gets rid of 3 earlier on. Just cannot be stopped right here. Micah gonna be forced away. He's gonna be cut down. Lich gets rid of another. And they stem all of that bleeding, that cart, to start moving forward.
And I mean, again, this Vendetta has been a problem. No matter what team has been using it, the other team just struggles with it here. And I'm still expecting to see some more swaps come out. You're seeing Micah and Noxious already make the swaps here, but I think Mari needs to get off this Sigma. I don't think it's necessarily working out at the moment for them.
It's really not, and this was the problem I thought we were going to have initially. But Zev proved in that first map that it was doable to deal with it, and right now, that's being proved double time. Grab comes out, and it decides to get a whopping a couple people, but it's a copy bomb that comes through at the end of the day. Doesn't do a whole lot. Salmon gets for the 2. Once again, gonna be able to stop things, but yes, Zev's shield is OP, but there's 3.5 minutes still on the clock here. And you're in a situation where you could just spend the next, like, minute and change building up a ton of these ultimates.
Too bad the copy Baba didn't really do anything right there. I wanted to get that out. But right now, you look at Lich. They have their ultimate coming up here right now. Well, there's nothing else ready here for a YFP. We saw what that ultimate did for YFP on King's Row. If Lich finds 1 or 2 people in a line, oh, you're going to be certain there's going to be a grave and a funeral for those 2 here. And that might honestly just be the thing that Kintsugi needs. But Noxious, again, we talked about how important they've been throughout this series here for YFP. That just sends Kintsugi straight back.
Yeah, as the spike continues on right now, you see the investment Lich is going to go for it, try to find something, gets rid of nobody. Dragon thrown in is going to cause separation once again. Zeb is separated from the rest of the squad. In fact, he's just loitering the high ground right now. Is going to be able to step up, gets a bunch of charges once again off of Lich as they're going to keep things going. As, yeah, Lich trying to go for the assassination. Not going to get away with it a second time as Micah over on this Ash trying to find success as Zeb, again, back on the high ground, trying to hang around, but it's Winter who is the first casualty of this fight. And if you're in a situation for Kintsugi, Micah gets rid of another. Not a whole lot you can do here. Zeb gets rid of one at the end of the day, but Micah gets rid of their third in this fight. Micah has been a hero so far for this squad. Impressive as always. But before we talk about that, Dex, I had a really terrifying thought just now. Grab Dragon paired up with the Vendetta ult. How scary does that sound?
Hello.
It would be scary if it would be scary. And I mean, we're only 1 hero away from seeing it now for Kintsugi, but I don't think we're gonna be seeing it from them here. But Kintsugi, they do have both their supporters coming into this fight. Same thing could be said for YFP here, but you need Salmon to build up to their own orbital ray here. But right now, if you're YFP, you have the Bob to use as a stalling tool, especially with the grab coming up from Zeb. You might just need to have it be just that.
Yeah, just maybe. Minute 20 left on the clock. It is a lot less than that initial 5.5 that they walk in with it, but still, they have a big chance to finish this map going for the big slice. Micah has been taken care of. Marwis gets a little something with that flux. Is going to try to catch on to somebody. Gets a good target with Steve, but no finish up is there. Rowdy, in fact, going to move forward to try to shut everybody down. Salmon this time able to get things out. The orbital ray might not be enough, though. Mari not able to be kept up. You have Noxious Micah both around the corner with such strong ultimates. Dragon throwing directly down to the center, causing a little bit of separation. Zeb, 98% to a grab, doesn't get it on in time. Unfortunate scenario, and now, if you're Kintsugi, you were looking at 5 minutes on the clock, and now you might cap with overtime.
Or not cap at all. I mean, yeah, you have a grab coming up online. You want Lich to build up to their ultimate here because that could be a really good combo tool. But you still have Bob here for Micah, which we've seen in the past definitely be something that could win a fight on its own here. You see, though, the Winter coming out here on the Hanzo. It might be a little bit too late to get a Dragon, but if they can find a headshot, it opens up so much for them.
100%, and now 15 seconds left on the board right here. Not able to wait for the combo, I imagine, as Noxious saw them trying to hit up that back momentarily. Grab is just going to be chucked in on the Micah, and the bomb is pulled in. Says a human shield, and Micah's going to stay alive as a result. Natsuki getting a little bit of trouble in that back line. Bob's still alive, but the trades go back and forth. Lichie's trying to make their way back over into this fight, but it's such a long way to have to reach. Micah gets rid of another Winter being taken care of. They don't even count the point after such an amazing beginning.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about going into that pause that we had there, that Kintsugi was casually going through this map, very easily going through this map, and that YFP had no good response for anything that they were trying to do. It just seemed like YFP was getting rolled over. The Sigma was starting to fall apart there towards the majority of that round. But once they got inside, like you said, you said that felt like it would go back over towards YFP there in some ways, and I think we saw it there. We definitely did see that the Sigma there from Mari really step up and slow down Zeb on the other side. And you see Zeb, I mean, 8-4. You would expect probably a little bit more from them, since it seemed like they were getting their name in every fight. But I mean, Mari ended up coming out on top, and that DPS line here for YFP. I think if they are going to be able to end the series here, this map, I think you have to give the MVP to Micah, Noxious, or Jeremy, because I feel like they have just been the difference makers here for these maps that YFP have won.
You're 100% right in that situation right there. Micah, who has, no matter what Micah has been on, has been popping off consistently. Mari, even though they're losing some of these battles against the Zarya, it's still really tough to manage that, and the fact that they have been as impressive as they have been, has been really nice. This is a squad that is working very hard, but still getting to the end of a Route 66 is not an easy thing to do. We'll see whether or not they'll be able to do so, as Noxious coming out on that Symmetra, still on it. We'll see how, nope, looks like they are going to be switching immediately.
I like it, though. I like it as a fake. They're going to be going right back over to the Hanzo, which I think is the exact right thing here to do, but just look at the two positioning here from the teams. They're just trying to play as much as they can on this high ground here for Kintsugi, but YFP just trying to find whatever they can here. Micah, though, I like this Cassie pick for them.
It's a very interesting pick. I think it's going to find a lot of value for them. We'll see how much it's going to get, though. Needs to get the shots over onto Winter. Isn't able to quite find the finish. So it's already proving to be a serious threat. That's why you see everybody jump Micah like crazy. Micah doesn't get the chance to survive. Instead, we're back into the spawn room. You do see the fact that Lich does die as well, so you lose a lot of that burn that you can really use onto Mari to force them back further. So you should see this card be able to keep slowly inching forward. Zeb has to prioritize the life.
Yeah, they're going to be able to fall back up on this high ground right here, but they're going to have to give up a little bit of space here now to YFP. And right now, if you're Kintsugi, you need to have a fight go your way here. You do not want to have them be able to match what you did on the air attacking round.
At 110%, Zeb doing a really good job maintaining all of their charge right now. Still has another bubble ready to go. Winter finds a direct shot on Salmon, but Trade's coming back through. Winter paying for their transgressions, but Noxious gets another one right here. The Hanzos have been very impressive today, and more so over. It has been Noxious that has been impressive on so many levels as Natsuki tries to get out of there alive.
They're going to be able to get out of there live with some help there from Zeb, and now you're into the final fight territory for this first point, and you're seeing ultimates come online. Noxious does have the dragons ready to go, but when do they use it? Do they use it here? Do they need to split up the team? They know where everyone is right now with just that run right there, but Winter able to match them.
Yeah, Dragon now available for Winter. Finds a tasty shot right there over onto Salmon. Nice little headshot as well. Isn't able to finish anybody up, but again, it's going to stem the bleeding. It pushes everybody back away. And now Zeb still maintaining a ton of charge here. He's looking fantastic. Salmon, though, is down. Flux is online. He's trying to find a couple of good bodies. There is a bubble still available to try to live through this, but Winter extremely low. It's barely going to be kept up for now, but there's a ton of ultimates available, Dex. But Z is gone over to Ray. Not going to be able to be used, and now with everybody sitting over on this point, this is going to be so tough to hang on to.
The rally was also used there for Kintsugi. You just see Kintsugi backing up. They're going to have to surrender this first point. Zeb, though, is hanging around, and they have Grab ready to go here. So it wouldn't surprise me if they want to do something where they try to just get something once these doors open, because you have Winter with the dragons. Hunter, we talked about it a little bit earlier. When was the last time you actually saw Grab dragons? I feel like it's been years, honestly, but you look at what Kintsugi has here. They're in a really good spot with their ultimates. They just need to use them smart here. This is not an opportunity for them to ult dump. We haven't seen them do it all series long. That's normally been YFP, who's not afraid to throw 3-4 ultimates into a fight.
They're not afraid whatsoever right here. And honestly, if you're able to simply hold in this area right here, this is such a strong place to go to play on the Zarya composition. But Deadeye has been used. They are investing a lot here. Grab thrown in. It catches onto the wall. Doesn't get anybody. Winter does find a finish over onto Micah, though. But that is essentially two ultimates that get almost no value. That's not what you expect out of this team, not what you expect out of these players. For the time being, they are still alive. Noxious goes down, so the bleeding is stopped. 3 minutes on the clock. If they can keep this up, it could be very effective.
It could be very effective. They need to have a slowdown here, because right now you do not want to allow YFP to get to this final point push, especially with the composition they're running, because it's going to be the exact same thing we saw on the defense side, where this comp they're running is a little bit more favorable in the third point. It struggles on the first 2 points because of the openness, but once you get into a little bit more close quarters, you see the Sigma really start to find a lot of value here. Z and Lich, so they have these ultimates ready to go, as everyone else for Kintsugi is playing on cart wall. It looks like YFP has flipped the map.
Yeah, Winter does get a nice goal over on the Noxious to try to keep these going, as over to right going the infested regime. It's sliced up like cheese right there. Not just the only one left alive. He's going to be able to get out with their life intact, but it's a beautiful investment there for Z, and for the time being, Micah is going to make a swap over. Noxious dead again.
Yeah, that was a I think a misplay there by Noxious. They did not need to poke their head out. They didn't need to do anything. Just regroup and spawn with your team. Now you're slowing it down a little bit more, eating some more time away here, allowing Kintsugi to build back up some of their own ultimates. Because look, Winter Dragon's about to be online. Lich still has their duplicate here, and Zeb, they can build up to a grab here pretty quickly. You only have your Flux here, and the Dragon's coming in after that. Normally we would see Mari and Noxious be pairing up their ultimates a lot throughout the night here, no matter what heroes they're playing. So I would not be surprised if you see the Flux come out and the Dragons come out immediately after it.
Yeah, Mari doesn't even have the best ability to even get in there and make that happen. You see a Dragon thrown in, Noxious just separated because of that. Flux comes out, Mari doesn't hit on anybody. And again, this is a back and forth between Zeb and Mari big time, because 1 minute, one take is finding all the effectives in the world, and the next, the other one takes it back. And this is becoming really rough.
It's becoming really rough, and we're seeing exactly what we saw from Kintsugi on their attacking round, where they were really dominant on those first 2 points. They struggled a little bit on the first point defense, but the second point defense, this Zarya can play up so far, have bubbles to get them out, and the support line there for them as well. Z and Natsuki have been doing an excellent job making sure that Zeb and Lich, who are essentially frontlining, are able to do so much.
100% now. We're at 45 seconds and counting away from this potential going to a map 5. Noxious coming back with that Dragon here soon. It could be a big thing to use here to open up that space you need to get in here, but yeah, I mean, you're gonna have a grabber on the corner. Winter's still really far away from the Dragon though. Is gonna need a couple of really good shots to build up really quickly, but instead Dragon thrown through. It's gonna clear out a bunch of that space, cause separation momentarily. Lich is gonna go for that copy and try to get their own Flux online. It's not gonna do so, but they are burnt away. Zeb, last one remaining with 15 seconds on the clock. The card's gonna move forward, but that was almost everything that they had in the tank.
Oh, it was. You will have Bob here if you're Micah, but I mean, we've been talking about the DPS line for YFP throughout this entire series, and that fight right there, yeah, you had the support there from the Orbital Ray from Salmon, but that DPS line found everything in that fight. I believe 4 of the 5 kills were from that DPS line, and that's exactly what you need. Once this DPS line gets hot, it's very hard for Kintsugi to shut down, but you have a grab, you're not that far away from a Dragon, so that could be something you definitely see come out here, especially as it looks like Kintsugi already looking to rotate the map or just flip the map here pretty early on. You do not want to allow Winter to have that high ground though.
Yeah, it's a really awkward spot to be in. Bob is going to be thrown out. Zeb stunned away, and someone has to go touch this point. The separation could prove deadly as grab is available. It's thrown in. Not a whole lot is actually caught out of it though. Micah's going down though. Zeb has gotten rid of 2 more. Bombs going to start going off. They're falling one at a time, and eventually Kintsugi takes this map win. And for what feels like a common occurrence here on the stream, right into a map 5.
Yeah. My knees are thankful for a map 5.
Oh my god. It's such a good performance though. Like Zeb and Mori have been so consistent as is, but it has been these DPS that have been keeping up the entire time throughout this entire series. It has been so consistent from everybody doing their thing. Everyone has had a really big moment to be able to stand out. But now you're in a really tough position, Dex, because again, you look back at who won that third map, YFP is going to have a ton of power going into this final map.
Yeah, they've already decided they're going to bring us to Shambali Monastery here, and they have the first ban. We haven't seen the Zarya banned out just yet. Is this the map you see the Zarya get banned out? I think, honestly, yeah. Even though I think there's better options, I think you want to get rid of Zarya here. I think you feel pretty confident going into that Sigma mirror, even though Kintsugi, I think they were starting to really figure it out there towards the end of Runasapi. And yeah, that's going to be who we see banned out here. So, I mean, I think YFP played this perfectly with bans here. They were forcing Kintsugi to make tank ban after tank ban after tank ban. And I think truly only one of the tank bans, I think on that last map of Route 66 was the right one. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it was just it was protection bans through and through. Now, though, you're a Kintsugi. Who do you ban out? Do you ban out a hit scan? Do you ban out? I think you ban out a hit scan here, no matter what. Both these teams have been playing the exact same support lines mostly throughout this series. I don't see a reason to have the double-edged sword kind of ban out here, where you're gonna hurt them, but you're also kind of hurting yourself here.
Yeah, I think there are a few choices you could reasonably pull out here. And it depends who you trust to do what, because one option that comes to mind is potentially Vendetta. Lich, yes, was able to prove that they could play it earlier, but I think Jeremy was able to get a little bit more effective off of that. You could try to go the Hanzo route, which it is a double-edged sword in that situation, but I think Noxious at this stage has proved to be very consistent with it. That also falls in the same line with the Mei as well, especially going to a situation where that Mei could be very effective on Shambali, especially you go around those second and first point fights. In fact, almost all of Shambali, where that Mei wall cutting you off, especially if you're Mari in that situation being cut off. We saw Mari get cut off earlier, and they got obliterated. We see Zeb copy over to, or be over on that Sigma as well. Got walled off, got obliterated. It's not something you want to deal with, but it really is going to be a situation to where which they think is going to be the most convenient, and what do they think that the enemy could do better than them in this situation?
I don't see it being Hanzo. I could see it being Hanzo, but not in the case you're saying where it's being a double-edged sword. We've really only saw Kintsugi play Hanzo last map. And yeah, it did work for them very well there, but I don't think if they do ban it out here, it would be a double-edged sword. It would definitely be a really good ban for them. I think a reach on a ban would be a Bastion. Without the Zarya there, I don't feel like you need to ban the Bastion out here because Bastion is pretty easy to get rid of. I think it's just a really good counter to Zarya and their bubble. I mean, you could try to keep the Bastion there just to melt whatever shields you see potentially from a Sigma or a Ramatra, which I feel like might be what we see both these teams go to here. But I mean, I expect it to be something like a Soj. I feel like Soj is just a very safe ban for hit scans. But like I said, Hanzo might be the smart ban because it's not a double-edged sword. Boop Troop, I mean, my bad. YFP has been playing Hanzo really, really well when we have seen it here this series.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of amazing things from honestly everybody in the series. It feels like we had the opportunity to talk about essentially everybody here so far today, and let it be noted, despite the fact that there are many subs on both sides, they have both stuck with the 5 that they have in. And it's been impressive how well it's really worked out. I think the integration has been really good from YFP as well. Again, you talk about who was entered into this lineup in comparison to what we saw before. The couple people that were brought in that were new was Noxious and Springar, who Springar hasn't played today, but Noxious has been extremely impressive here today. Micah was brought over from Anomaly during last season of Faceit League Master. And both have been extremely impressive throughout the entire day. Definitely fantastic additions.
Yeah, well, just to correct you there, we have seen Jeremy. YFP has made a swap here, and it looks like Jeremy might be coming back in for this final map.
Ooh.
So that might lead us to what our final pin is. It's actually gonna be Mei.
I like it.
So the Vendetta definitely on the table. We saw Jeremy play it very well when they did play it. So it's going to be really interesting to see what these two teams want to do heading into our 5th and final map of the night. And I mean, hey, we kind of expected this one to be a good series even before Boop Troop became YFP, because me and you were talking about this one on Saturday or Sunday, saying like, we look at this one being a really good series. Kintsugi, I think they still have a lot of question marks around them because they've only played one game. YFP had played 4 games up until this point here, so they have a little bit more answers. They bring in these 2 new players. YFP jumps on board, and you're starting to see a little bit of a different team here. But Kintsugi now, this is, I think, a map that might, maybe a little bit of an over-exaggeration here to say, define their season to a point here. Because a really strong win here against YFP, who's coming in with a really good roster, will go a long, long way in the rest of this series or in the rest of their 12 games to go.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to be... This is so important, especially for Kintsugi, who has so many more games having to sit by, where... Again, we'll talk more about the schedules when we get done with this map and get into more of what this win or loss is going to mean for both squads, but... We'll see momentarily what it's going to be. Right now, Zeb over on that Orisa, the Orisa debut for today. Seeing that for the first time. We'll see what's going to happen, though, Dex, as for the time being, Mari still over on that Sigma, and has what you would generally consider a lot more of a poke comp. Oh, never mind.
Poke comp? Very much a poke comp here. It's almost as if YFP is expecting... Oh, man, I was actually going to really like to see the Zen come out there. I feel like it would have been a very, very fun thing. It's something, especially with Zeb on this Orisa, could have melted it down pretty quickly.
Yeah, 110%. We'll see what happens here, though. Jeremy, love seeing back over on that Vendetta. Nearly gets taken out early on. Almost gets blown up still. Going to be hanging around, though. What's going to be so imperative in this situation right now again, is going to be this linchpin over on the high ground right now, which it's getting tested. Zeb is pretty much using every cooldown to try to get in there, do something, and it's going to work out beautifully. Jeremy, big shutdown, and that should be enough to get this cart moving. And Gerben Zeb, though, is still hanging around. Winter also there, too, is able to take care of business. The question is whether or not this will buy enough time for everybody to get back.
It will buy them a little bit of time here. Kintsugi will have to give him a little bit of space here. You can go just play at the first big choke point here. But the fact that Zeb was still alive was the only reason Kintsugi was really able to keep that fight have the result of that fight go the way it was. And now you see everyone back here. And Kintsugi wants to get into their face fast, but Noxious, someone who needs to step up here for this YFP squad, already finding an early pick.
No, 100%. Exactly what you want to see at this stage right here. But Cart steadily moving on. 2.5 minutes still on the board here. For the time being, Zeb trying to figure things out with the Sarisa instead of the Zarya. You knew this was eventually going to happen. And right now, maybe you're counting your lucky stars for your YFP for saving here for the final one. Is Mari going to keep moving forward? Volley of Zeb continues onward as this is going to be a pretty quick cap here. The first point here of Shambali as Jeremy trying to find another body. He's going to try to find something else, but with these two hanging around, I don't think Jeremy finds any more than that.
I think it's honestly a really good thing that Jeremy was not able to jump over the wall right there, or else they would have died. Yeah. But I mean, again, this vendetta has just caused a lot of problems for both teams tonight, no matter who's playing it. Jeremy has been an expert here on YFP, but Zeb, you're coming up to this Terra Surge here. You're going to need to be able to find somebody who's setting up for it, but you find Salmon out early. That's huge.
Yeah, 100%. It's massive to be able to pull this out right here. But Zeb, Winter, Lich, everybody doing their jobs right here. Regime and Zeman just both trying to get out of there alive. Not going to happen for Regime, though, but still, lots of ultimates going to be available for both sides. Regime's B is going to be extremely important because there is a volley of ults that are available here that are going to be so tough to deal with.
Yeah, and right now, YFP, I mean, Kintsugi's actually putting them to a spot where YFP will have to do a dump here for this one. But Noxious again! If Noxious can just find these headshots off on their own before a fight even gets started, you don't need to worry about anything.
You do not in the slightest here. As it's still going right now, Lich, Jeremy doing their job. 3.5 minutes still on the clock right there with that clear out cart. Gonna start moving once again for YFP. As they're getting a good consistency down right here. They still have a lot of ultimates, but to be fair, Kintsugi has just as many.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, there's going to be an ult dump coming in here at some point. The Terror Surge from Zeb might have to be something that is going to be something. It's something. Oh my goodness!
Noxious.
Someone check the PC.
Noxious is an animal at the stage. All right, that's the only thing I'd be able to come up with right here. Which is not in the best position either. Is kind of floating around. Noxious is waiting for somebody to peek their head unnecessarily. Zeb is barely staying alive as it is, and now here comes that all-out aggression. So much has been invested. Copy is obliterated. The dragon thrown in. Everybody getting pulled over and towards it, but Zeb can't get it out in time. Noxious again doing the job of 3 men right now. He's continuing the trend going forward. He's trying to get more, but eventually gonna fall down. But the rest of the team is still hanging around. Regime gets rid of another. At the end of the day, Regime able to help out as well. Absolute machines out here.
Noxious killed Natsuki when they were going for, I believe it was Lich. And that's just kind of funny. Look, you see Lich now go to the Vendetta. I think it's just a moment here where both these teams are understanding how strong Vendetta is. You need something like that. You also see Winter now going over to the Shield Burster here of the Bastion. I like it. You need to be able to slow down Mari, who, I mean, because of Jeremy and because of Noxious, has just been able to play very, very freely here.
Extremely freely. See what happens, though. Investment out the gate. See, they're very consistent so far with those orbit arrays. Able to do the same here right now, and Mari is not getting out of here alive. That is never going to happen in 100 years, but it is going to stem the bleeding once again. 3 minutes on the clock, though, still plenty to work with right here. Another fight will be able to get them up to 3, maybe 4 of their ultimates.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, we're seeing kind of what we saw back on last map, back on King's Row, where you get to this third point, it slows down, kind of becomes more defensive sided. You're starting to see the defense teams come alive here. But right now, all it really takes for YFP to get going here is one headshot, and there it is, but Zeb with an immediate trade.
Yeah, don't love that trade too much at the end of the day, but hey, Mari apparently is trying to like it a little bit here. You see the investment from Jeremy. who eventually is going to go in for the nice slice and dice there over onto Winter. Cart moving once again, 2:20 on the clock. You still are going to have the Vicinity Rush. You're still going to have the Dragon beat not too far away as well.
And look how far up Mario's already pushed up here for YFP. They're trying just to control the space here a little bit, let everyone know where to expect the members of Kintsugi to be coming from here, especially with the Dragons online here from Noxious. You have to be looking for them to set up the split here to try to put them into the most favorable position for them, but the Kintsugi Rush out here early from Salmon.
100% it is going for the slice and dice. Bodies being taken care of in kind. And while you do see the Dragon coming through, it's going to be nothing but a clean up use. Nearly 2 minutes on the clock here. YFP looking in prime form, and now Kintsugi have a mountain to climb to get back into this one.
Both metaphorically and literally, as this map takes place on a mountain. But I mean, again, it's just Noxious has been such a difference maker here for this YFP squad. They've been able to do a lot, and just look at them here. Jeremy had more kills, but it felt like Noxious and their kills had much more impact at the start of fights. Jeremy was mostly there to be the person that was, they come in, they wreck house, they leave. That is it. Almost essentially a Stone Cold Steve Austin, essentially. They come in, do what they need to do, and then just back out and get ready for the next fight. 15 elims, they're most in the lobby. I mean, they were doing everything. And I mean, I don't think Kintsugi played a bad round there. I just think it was the unfortunate picks that were coming out from the hands of Noxious pretty early on, always putting them at such a disadvantage is on that second point, and then especially on the third point. And ult dumps. Again, we talked about a lot. YFP, they have loved to throw 2, 3, potentially 4 ultimates into a fight to get something going, and you still get a 1 or 2 investment from the other side. YFP has been just living off that throughout this entire series. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a smart thing to live off of, but YFP has been excelling with it.
Absolutely excelling. And now you have to make these level of adjustments in the situation if you are Kintsugi. The same old doesn't work again. Now you're bringing out your own signal. We saw how this kind of went previously back over on Runasapi, and it was pretty hit and miss, unfortunately. Didn't really work out too well for them. But we'll see how it's going to end up here right now. Lich is also over on that Genji. First time seeing that today. This is, again, it's something that's either going to work really well or it's going to get completely dumpstered on. There is no in-between with this kind of composition. Zeb, best thing they can do is stay alive on this point, keep trying to inch it forward as Mari is pretty much trying to stop any progress from the high ground.
Let's go from one swordsman to another swordsman right here, bringing back out the Vendetta here as they will desperately need it. Jeremy, though, picking up right where they left off.
Yep, one out of that winter rough situation, extremely low. Lucky to still be alive, and as I say that, he is taking care of Natsuki, though, does take care of business against Jeremy, so if they can stay alive, you could see a quick little regroup, but everybody gonna back out of there, just gonna put progress over on the car and just keep this thing, again, just slowly inching forward.
I like this. YFP completely backing out. Remember, Kintsugi last round did not back out. They stayed in, tried to have a fight. Didn't necessarily work out for them there. I like YFP backing out. Gives them some time to regroup here and think about their next plan of action as you already see the speed ring come out here as Kintsugi just wants to go in fast.
I mean, exactly. This is what you want to do almost every single time, especially with the advantage you really have on you right now. But either way, we're waiting for these first ultimates to get online. Mari gonna be the first with this flux. Potentially no one's seeing it coming this early quite yet, but again, you have Noxious catching a nice shot over onto Z. Flux is there. Poor Winter is going to be caught out, and Poor Winter is going to be obliterated. And now Zeb, nice follow-up, 2:20 left on the clock here. In the position where that card is at, this is going to be really tough to break through.
Barrier initialized.
My God.
Okay, Jeremy. But right now, this is what, if you're YFP, this is how you wanted to go. I think the fallback there, like I said, the difference between these two teams so far is Kintsugi wanted to still play up after losing most of their team. YFP backed up. They had the time to regroup. It worked out for them. You already used one ultimate. You're coming up to a couple of your other one. Dragons, though, from Noxious is going to be able to split up everyone. And right now, I like what Mari's doing. They're essentially being the scout, letting them know when they see everyone there. But you have to watch out for Lich, who's already trying to dive in.
Yep, definitely trying to do so. 1:45 left over on the clock. Noxious, again, has our Dragon before that has gotten Winter so many times throughout the series. Jeremy is waiting for an opportunity as well, but you see a constant look back to go take care of business. Yeah, the red checks comes through. Noxious gets rid of 3, and the team light comes through once again.
Noxious is showing us Hanzo plays I haven't seen in years. Hunter. Like me and you have casted in a lot of different events, a lot of different leagues, a lot of different skill levels, and we've seen good players. We've seen players excel on certain heroes, but Noxious, this performance tonight on Hanzo has been one of those special ones so far here. But right now, if you're Kintsugi, you're still in a good spot here. A minute left to go, but Noxious again!
You can't keep doing this, Noxious. These people have families. They're going to keep moving forward. Flux is going to be used here by Zeb, who's going to be able to take care of Jeremy at the very least. And this door could be open, but Noxious gets rid of another one. W all indeed. But Zeb is now cornered away. Rough situation to be in. Noxious gets rid of another one. Lich Hanger on the back wants to take care of business, but it's going to be forced back once again as Noxious just cannot be stopped.
30 seconds.
Hey, again, whoever's getting the highlights for Faceit, we had one last night. Just go back through this series. Lich has been providing highlight after highlight here. They are showing, they're a human highlight reel right now. Look at YFP here. They have all the ultimates in their books. Zeb going over to the Aritza here, a last-ditch effort. You're gonna have to hope for a lot here now from Kintsugi in this fight.
Yep. Dragon goes away, by the way. Noxious was out on it at the last second. Jeremy here with the investment. Bodies barely, and I mean barely avoiding that one, but here comes that investment. B is going to be used here. Winder is going to still have this investment around the corner. Trying to find something with this Deadeye. It's going to get rocked out of it. Winston does get rid of Regime, though, before things come to form. Mari Salmon both extremely low, but Zeb is still there trying to hang around with Z, trying to keep this team going. And Zeb just needs to be able to get rid of Noxious, and Mari's the only ones remaining. Noxious goes for broke there, unfortunately. Z is able to clear things out. Mari trying to keep alive for time for Regime to get back. Unfortunately, Regime gets back in time. Unfortunately, none of their teammates remaining. This point is going to cap over, but it took everything in the kitchen sink.
But you'll take it. You needed that there. You could throw away the kitchen sink. Hell, just go to Walmart, go to Home Depot, buy yourself a new one. That's what Kintsugi did right there with capping that first point. And you see him there. And actually in a good spot. You have Orbital Ray, you have Terror Surge, you have ultimates here to kind of push you through this second point. Well, you look at the other side. They're only going to be able to come up to their own Kintsugi Rush and probably a Flux here at some point. So Kintsugi, they kind of need to take a page out of YFP's book here and start to play a little bit fast here. They need to start applying the pressure where YFP has been doing it to them all night long.
110%. See? Has your Orbital Ray. Just canceled out the time before. Really wanted to get it out this time. It's going to go all in forward. And this time, it is going to come out. We see the investment. Zeb able to get Jeremy. They double down, and it works out beautifully. Lich gets rid of 3, by the way. Gets rid of a 4th. These DPS are living highlight reels here today, Dex.
I mean, we have seen some excellent DPS plays over the past couple days, past couple weeks, but man, this series might be one of the ones of all time here right now. But that's what I thought Kintsugi needed to do there. Play aggressively. Yeah, they just emptied their ults here, and they're still gonna have one more fight, but you could build up to a rally here. But the Flux coming out here from Mara.
Yeah, but it's gonna get blocked out. Taken care of. Jeremy gets another, and here comes that Dragon trying to come through, trying to separate. It does cause quick separation. Zeb is in a really tough situation right now, but you see that investment there from Natsuki, trying to keep everything going. Winter, Zeb doing their part as well. This cart is gonna keep moving once again. 2.5 minutes on the clock here. Impossible to have more, but you gotta try to finish this map at the very least.
Again, you can throw away the sink. You can always go get a new one, and Kintsugi has been doing that ever since that first point right here. You have Lich has their ultimate. Zeb being able to build to another Terror Surge that quickly is insane for them because Mari is now so far behind that if Kintsugi is able to get this cart decently pushed out far here before you see an engagement from YFP, it's going to be difficult for them to really do anything here as you see them already going in. Kintsugi trying to find value early, which Lich does.
Yeah, and that's a great start right there. Lich gets rid of another. Just the value you get out of this Vendetta. Jeremy, though, is going to have their own around the corner right here. And it's going to be tough to deal with the Sundering Blade, but you have to try to endure it.
I mean, but look at what everything that Kintsugi has here. Deadeye, Terror Surge. Deadeye out here pretty early on.
Trying to look at that separation. The Rocket's eaten, by the way. They're going to go for it. Nobody dies in the ensuing fight right now, but here comes this investment. Jeremy in there, going to get stunned out instead. Zeb still has the investment around the corner. Orbital Ray thrown directly over on top of it. Lich is going to move in, try to slice those bodies around. He's going to come in just in time for Regime. It could be the thing that saves them in this fight. Zeb trying to punish over the background as well, but now the ultimates have been drained. Nox is the only one anywhere close to anything right now. Natsuki being punished, will be taken out as well. And with a minute left on the clock here, this is going to have to be once again Kintsugi back to the drawing board.
But again, I think the investment there by Kintsugi was not the worst. You still have some time here to regroup. That wasn't final fight. And you have some ultimates coming up here. Yeah, they're not necessarily the best, but a rally from Natsuki denied a flux from Mari last fight. Noxious though, again, you're looking for them here. They've been kind of quiet here recently. They haven't been able to find that headshot they're known for. And finding one right now kind of puts Kintsugi into panic territory where you either have to engage in the fight or quickly regroup and fall back.
Here we go. Flux from Mari. Needs to find a salvageable target. Ends up getting one over on the corner. Unfortunately, no follow-up available to get rid of Winter. And now is everything on the line right here. Nakatsuki is right around the corner from having this rally, but not just gonna go for the dragon. Looking for the right separation. Needs the right target for the time being. Zeb cornered away. Roast situation is getting drilled into. Still alive as Winter gets rid of Mari. They are fighting back hard. Jeremy wants to keep this going though. Natsuki with this rally though is trying to make sure they stay in this one. Eventually the investment from Winter. Cap is going to come through. It may be significantly less, but Kintsugi keeps themselves alive.
First to learn that lesson.
And again, I think because they took that fight there, that second to last fight with time, they played fast, they played aggressively. It allowed them to come back in and have that time to reset back up. Where am I? To reset back up. I've never seen that part of the map before. I was confused. It allowed them the time to reset back up and just look at the stats here. Zeb had a much better round. 35-8. They much improved, and especially once they went over to the Orisa, as them trying to match the Sigma, and then I think they played Zarya for a brief moment, but them playing that Orisa was a big difference maker. And I like that they're going to stick with it here. I think it's going to be a big difference maker for them. But you look at the other side as well. Noxus, Mari, Jeremy doing a lot for this team, and even Salmon and Redeem. You couldn't ask for more, but look at Z.
Yes.
Look at Z.
Perfect.
21,000 healing. They're 24-7. This is a player right now that we're not talking about enough, and for good reason. I mean, we've talked about a lot. When support players are doing really good and we don't talk about them, it means they're doing their job. We need to talk about Z a little bit more because that is a performance on this map that deserves a lot more attention.
100%. But now you need to take the performance that you have had here in this minute spree, and I think from what we saw before, I think the very minimum you need is the cap first. I think genuinely that is the point you have to get to put yourself in actual like victory territory. Elsewise, it's going to be a really rough hill to be able to climb, especially Noxious back over on the Sanzo. How much of a threat it's been throughout the entirety of this day. It'll be rough to deal with, but for the time being, Mari more than happy to keep stalling from the high ground.
I don't think you need to cap first. You just need to get through the first choke essentially, because that's a good spot where for both these teams could really just hold. Right now, it seems like Kintsugi, they're trying to do the exact same thing they did the first time around here by playing down main and then rotating up to this high ground. But Hunter, time is not on their side this time. They have to figure out which way they're going and do it now. Looks like they decided to rotate through high ground.
Yeah, I like the fact that, by the way, Zeb is using the shield instead. It's pretty much stopping a lot of Nox's ability to simply drill through there with the arrow. But Lich gets away with the first one. This could be starting for the gates to fall over. And Noxious gonna go in, is going to be separated, taken care of. So first choke is going to be gotten through here. But at the end of the day, the closest one to an ultimate by a mile is Mari.
And right now, YFP just having them back out here. They have to. They cannot afford to stay in this fight, lose anyone else. Jeremy falling first is a bad thing, especially with how Vendetta is being played by both these teams. Being that person who's played him almost like a Doomfist. Get into a little bit of damage, get out, keep yourself alive, allow the rest of your team to clean up here. But you're in a good spot right now if you're YFP. Mari could build up here to that flux, which could, C9 a team.
Yeah, Noxious gets rid of Winter, and this is, I think, where it's all going to start crumbling down. Lich extremely low, burnt out by Noxious. Noxious gets rid of a second, hoping to get a third. Natsuki, unfortunately, cannot live through that all. Zeb nowhere close to this C. Might get an open array on time, but it's not going to matter. They get through the first choke, but nothing more than that is... I don't want to call this one fight territory, but if you play this a certain way, it kind of is. If you lose that first fight, you are going to have to rush back to set up some kind of defense.
You have to know what to do here. That's just the biggest thing. We saw it from YFP the first time they played defense, where they lost 2 members and then just decided to say, okay, we're going to fall back. We're going to play that first choke instead. The one that I'm currently staring at. on screen. We're going to go back and play that choke instead, and it worked out for them. They almost held right there. But YFP, they didn't want to do that in the second time around because so little time. They wanted to still play aggressively here. But it's going to be interesting to see what we see here from Kintsugi, because we didn't see the Orisa at all on the defensive side, I believe, from them in that first round, if I remember correctly. But you have to be able to hold them here. You have to have a really good hold on the first couple, on this first little main street here, coming out of spawn. If you don't do that, then it becomes very, very difficult because, yeah, spawns are equally distant there from both teams, but you always kind of favor the attacking teams here on first points.
Yeah, you have to consistently. But we'll see what's going to go down here. 3 minutes on the clock. Again, this could go by very quickly. We've seen how consistent everybody has been so far on this YFP team, but if nothing else, Kintsugi has been relentless throughout the entire day. They have been the team that has been having to adapt, constantly changes, and constantly improve throughout the series, and has to be in its strongest form right here and right now.
Both Vendettas going after each other right now. It's going to be interesting to see how long this fight goes on in the room, but again, this is the only reason Jeremy wins that one.
That's so unfortunate. The 1v1 essentially gets interrupted now. You have to go full swing here if you're Zeb. Go in here, try to find a little something. When they're separated, Jeremy cutting through bodies, and even if you do have one, if you're Zeb, unfortunately, Natsuki separated, hit with another down slash right there, and Zeb just gonna go over to the point. Everybody gonna die over on the point. Some of the time is taken away, but Jeremy gets rid of 3 at the end there. And already it is last fight territory for Kintsugi.
Well, you have time here right now if you're Kintsugi. You don't have to rush back out. Yeah, you would love to get Zeb back there pretty fast, and that's exactly what they're going to do here. But YFP is going to give you some time here by not having 3 members on the car. You have a little bit of time here to play, but I think Zeb taking a long way around is not necessarily the right thing to do here. You need a touch, and you really do not want it to be Lich.
You don't want it, you do not have it to be right now, but Zeb needs to be able to hang around. Lich needs to be able to win out this 1v1 this time right here, not just going around on the side though. One headshot could be the beginning of the end. Zeb catches on to Razine though, but there is Lich trying to keep things going, and looks like they'll seemingly be able to do so. Sam and Noxious, rough areas to be in, so this bleeding will be stemmed for now. Mari gonna simply take the simple way out of there as another fight done, but you still need at least 2 more to go.
Mari just decided to rappel down the mountain right there. Still though, a minute on the clock. This is kind of what I thought. Like, you did not have to necessarily say it was one fight territory here for Kintsugi. You had time, you had the space. You allowed YFP to get up there, but now the YFP coming up to some ultimates. Kintsugi will be coming up to ultimates as well. Who throws the first one out? Because you're going to be seeing a lot of reactionary ults from here on out. Or do we see another early pick come out from somebody?
I can see Jeremy using this blade very aggressively, by the way. I can 100% see that. But right now, you have Zeb, Mari, the first two that are about to have their tank ultimates. Zeb obviously wants to be a little bit sparing with theirs, but Mari is going to look for the perfect target to be able to get this on him, especially if Noxious is going to be able to follow up. In this situation, I'm looking to get rid of Zero Winter in this situation if I can afford to be able to do so. And hey, with that being used right there, the opening has come through for Mari. You can see right now Zeb is waiting for somebody to try to go with the investment, but instead he's going to go for it. He's going to try to pull in, but unfortunately gets a whopping no one. Flux comes through. Mari, Jeremy, both taking care of business. That car starting to move forward.
Cart!
Victory. What did I just witness? Listen, we're screaming for the cart, but at the end of the day, God, what a way to end a game, by the way. what a way to end the long meeting that we've had at this point. Listen, Dex, I know how you're feeling right now. I know how you're feeling.
My knees are killing me.
I know your knees are killing you. It's perfectly fine. Listen, we're here. We're at the end of the road. We've made it to the end of our map 5. We've been having a lot of those lately, but to be fair, as I change over that score, as YFP takes this one away, that's a really close one. And I love the way that went down. I love that this entire series, because everybody felt like everybody felt like at some point, click the wrong button there, Dix. It felt like everybody really had a good chance to shine, and there was no one who was a weak link on either of these teams. Everybody was so consistent, doing their part to such a high degree.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing. Normally in series, we could always kind of point to maybe a line or one or two players that you would like to see a little bit more out of in teams. But this went 5, and this went a true back and forth 5. There wasn't really a dominant map by either side. I think the most dominant map that potentially we saw there was Route 66 from Kintsugi. But even towards the end of that, YFP was able to slow them down. They just weren't able to get anything going on their attack. I think that was by far the most dominant map. You could go back to Nepal and say, hey, 2-0 there, but I believe both points were 99 to 99. You cannot argue how back and forth this series was. And YFP, your favorite players, getting their first victory under that branding there. A great showing for them. Again, Kintsugi, they, like I said, coming into the series, again, still had a couple questions to be answered about them. I think they answered a lot here. Even though this is only their second game and they are now 1-1, this is still a team that I think both me and you expect to kind of be staying up towards the top of the standings. They need to play a couple more games to get back up there. However, we have been kind of mentioning it here and there throughout the entire series here tonight. They have a gauntlet here at some point where they're playing a lot of games in a lot of days here because of how many games they have rescheduled.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a quick look at both these squads really quick before we end out our night, just see what their schedule is like before things go. But oddly enough, only one game, well, actually 2 games for the rest of the year when it comes to Kintsugi. They have Kasa Esports and Shikigami, but right now, their big trend is going to be that first week coming back. They are playing the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And it is not an easy schedule by any means. You have Iliad Artemis, Hivemind, Emote Down Mid, Amplify, and Dreamland. That's not the toughest gauntlet to get through. But even though you take this loss today, I think going up against a really tough squad here in YFP, I think it proves that you're ready to ball. I think it proves that they can be a potential top 8 team. Now, I know we've only had the smallest sample size in the entire league right now. At the same time, though, YFP is a tough team. The fact that Kintsugi put that into one fight territory nearly, that says a lot about them. And I think they should be confident, especially when they have a bit of a lighter part of their schedule coming up with certain teams. Like, there's quite a few that are clustered together, like Element Garden, In Control, Iliad Helios, games that I think they can all win. But it's going to be these tough games at the beginning of the year, like Iliad, like Dreamland, that if they can win those, I think they should be able to cement their spot into that.
Yeah, and even with them not winning the series here tonight, they've showed a lot of resilience, a lot of fight back, especially with how good of a first round that I believe YFP had there on Shambali Monastery. Just kind of casually going through, playing their aggressive play style that really did put Kintsugi, I feel like, on edge a lot of times here. YFP, I don't necessarily know if it was like desperation from Kintsugi that really got Kintsugi to turn around right there, but YFP, I think we started to see them maybe not necessarily make mistakes, but start just making the wrong plays here and there on that defensive round that allowed the overtime. But hey, a really great victory here for YFP. Like I said, first victory under the branding. Very, very happy for them here. And they put on a hell of a show here tonight. I mean, everyone, we talked about that DPS line, we talked about the support line, we talked about the tanks. I mean, every single person that played, all 11 players that played in this series here tonight, played, I think, one of their best series of all time here. I mean, everyone was popping off. It was really, really fun to see. And if Kintsugi was able to pull it out there at the end, man, would that have been an incredible story. Yeah. But aggression goes both ways.
Yeah, and it's obviously a really unfortunate situation, all things considered, but I think still proud of the game that you played here today. Know that if you put a performance like that forward in a lot of these teams, you're going to be able to get that win out. But we'll see. YFP is done for the year, though. They don't play again until the 7th, so they get to enjoy the rest of their holiday season with a dub attached to the end of the year. They come back, though. They have a couple of games against EU Takeover, Element Garden, Hivemind, so games that feasibly for them from the performance, they might be able to win all those out and be able to get a really nice start. Yeah, like, obviously, we'll have to see. They have some tougher games near the end of the season, like Dreamland and Extinction, but obviously, we'll get to those when we get to those. But with that being said, Dex, it's been a long night. I work very early in the morning here. With that being said, we appreciate y'all being out here tonight. We appreciate y'all supporting the stream, of us having another great game. Usually we're not great at picking the games that actually go to map 5, but it's been a really good trend lately. I've been really happy with it. I assume Dex is as well. His knees might not be as welcoming to the idea.
My knees feel like I feel like I have the knees of an 85-year-old.
Well, I'm not going to make that turn into a 90, so thank y'all for joining us here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully for a South America double header. That should be a lot of fun, given that, you know, they decide to keep to their schedule. My eyes are on you, Cosmos. I'm watching you like a hawk. But we hope you all have a fantastic night. We'll see you tomorrow for some more Faceit League action. Take care now.